Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan.
And we're joined by a very special guest today.
Hello.
We caught
Miles.
You. We found you.
Miles Bonsignore.
Thank you so much.
I don't know how to say your last name with a regular accent, so I pretend to be Italian every time.
When I was growing up, I would say it was Bonsignore. And then after doing the Try Guys podcast, they would call me Miles Bonsignore, which is how it is actually pronounced.
Sure.
And now I go as that.
That is beautiful because not a lot of people think they can change it up later in life.
Yeah.
And I did.
Wow.
And I did. And my wife actually said, I'll only take your name if it's the cool version.
And you've talked pretty extensively about how Italians have been oppressed more than anyone else in the
and
nation.
that's why I came on today.
Right.
To correct us.
Well, to correct your guys' ignorance, pasta is a forbidden food.
Oh, no.
And a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people don't think
Right.
about
It's
that.
whenever I was eating spaghetti when you walked in and you said my culture is not your costume.
Said
or
you're
the
not
other way
allowed to
around.
have that.
Yeah, yeah.
said,
You slapped
"Excuse-
it out of my hand.
Mamma mia, brother.
Yeah, that's
Here
right.
we go again, is what I said.
And actually, Mamma Mia, deeply offensive to me.
Oh, fuck.
Deeply.
Movie
It's
takes
the,
place.
it's the M word.
The double M word.
Oh, my
Flip
bad.
it around, Mamma Mia.
Oh, wow.
Don't play Mario. I don't want to get into it, but
Who?
Yeah, you can't. That's the other M word.
how many times did you just have to tank an incorrect Bonsignore?
Honestly, I just sort of stopped caring how people said it.
That makes
When I
sense.
introduced myself, I'd be Miles Bonsignore. But
Yeah, at Patreon, I stopped caring when people would call me Jordan by accident.
Because of the spelling.
yeah, well,
I
sort of
think
a
that
difference. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
There's something, I guess people were matching us up in some ambiguous way.
Yeah, I can't really. I can't
can't
think of a
fathom
thing.
why.
Yeah,
Probably our hair.
Miles, I have to thank you because well, we have it in the shot. Our like little gear cabinet here.
Husky?
We stole the husky idea from you. We
Yes.
recorded Perfect Person, and I was like, I need a husky in my life.
when I
and then
got
I
the
got
husky-
Dipper, and then I said I need another one.
Yeah, you've got double. Is that no? That's
No,
one
no, no. I was talking
giant
about
husky.
my dog, who's also a husky.
You guys got the
is
premium husky.
substantial,
I
isn't
mean, a husky can really it can send you into a spiral. I love my husky.
Jacob and Anastasia went to go pick it up one time and didn't realize how big it was. I didn't realize how big it was.
Colossal.
And we were like, oh, this doesn't fit in a car.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, oh, sorry, you were about to say something.
We got to Home Depot and the employee was like, "You're not going to be able to take this home."
They took one
And
look at us and they were like,
I was
do you want to see how
offended.
big it is?
I mean, it is humongous.
But then
is.
we saw it was on a pallet and we're like, "Oh no, we won't be able to take this home."
Yeah, can we hitch it to like do you guys have a trailer we can attach this to?
You called me at the time and you said, please, Hercules, I need you to come and help me. I was busy picking up a really big weight.
That's not true.
I was picking up, oh, you didn't know I was
big
picking up
weight.
a really big weight.
Yeah.
I was picking up, I think it was a million of the, what's it called? The
Husky?
I was picking up a
million
of that.
huskies.
You were
million
picking
of
up a
that
million
one.
huskies?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome,
The
actually.
Husky, yeah.
You were filming Snow Dogs 2.
I was picking them up.
Picking up a million. And then Jacob 3D printed labels.
Jacob also helped me print as a gift a 8-inch so-and-so Mael from Expedition 33.
Yeah, baby.
Full figurine, which I primed and then my partner painted.
You played?
Oh yeah.
Oh hell
But did
yeah.
you get the themes?
Oh,
It's
I thought it
France.
was about like a France.
Yes,
It was
No,
about France.
but I
The
love
Eiffel
it.
Tower.
In fact, I just yesterday on my to-do list was uninstall Expedition 33 because I need to move on.
For your children.
Right,
For the benefit of...
I'm
For those who
literally-
come after.
For those who come after. In the
We
end
continue.
game of Expedition 33, I was like, I have to stop.
Right.
I can't keep doing like math games where I'm like,
Yeah.
let me add one picto
Right.
and then like try and hit the
Yeah, because
fucking.
maybe I can hit 6, 7. Yeah, maybe I can hit the sex number.
there be
It's unbelievable. But I loved it so much. It was my favorite game last
Anastasia
year.
is playing through it now, and I'm experiencing it all over again because Anastasia will be like, we were in the ice area and there were those big guys. And I was like, what? And then we couldn't remember
like the
what the
kids learning to
grandest were.
talk, you know,
I couldn't
yeah.
remember what the grandest were called. And I
The
feel like
Stalact or whatever? No.
No.
Well, the
people-
Stalact are there as
Stalactite.
well.
the Stalactor there.
Oh, the guys. Yeah.
the guys.
The nice Gestrels,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah,
homies.
but I forgot they had a whole different ass name. And it feels like I'm losing access to my culture. You know?
You gotta replay.
I gotta get back in. There's DLC I haven't
Dude,
played.
I
I
only-
just played the DLC. Honestly, okay, I feel like I can talk about this foible on this show because this audience, what, all gamers?
It's a show of foibles.
Okay,
yes.
so it's a show about foibles.
Yeah.
It's a show about boys. It's a show
It's a
about
show about
foibles.
boys
A lot
and
of
foibles.
messages.
I've had this done so many times where I'll play a game, right? I'll put fucking whatever, dozens and dozens of hours with it. I'll get to the end game. I'm loving it. I'm gonna go new game plus. Start the game over. Everything's way difficult, and then they drop drop DLC.
Yeah, that's
And
what happened to me.
I'm like, are you out
Extremely
of your
rude.
fucking mind?
You're being
And-
punished for your enthusiasm.
Correct. I was being punished for being so. This happened with Elden Ring. I had to replay the whole goddamn thing to play the DLC.
I think you are someone who doesn't track as a guy who reads manga or plays video games.
I agree. I've got flown under the radar.
Yeah, and that's
You're a jock.
How'd you
I
do
read you
that?
as a jock, I guess. is
Become a
what-
jock?
Yeah, you're like
Oh, brother.
kind of like a super husky style picking up kind of guy.
I actually really appreciate that. That's the vibe I give off.
you give off like
I give a jock's
fun
friend.
guy.
I played.
But like kind of fun guy who like when you leave, you like disappear into the ether. You like don't have a home.
I
Like
sort
you
of-
also
I
don't
give
track.
gomage.
You
Yes.
go by.
I gomage for like
flower.
my
Yeah, you rose
Beautiful
petals in
set
your
of
wake.
petals, yeah.
But yeah, no,
It's profound.
I appreciate that. When I came in, obviously, I'm sure people talk about your shelf all the time, but I was so psyched to just look at all the Shonen Jumps I used to have. And,
Yeah.
It's so nice to say that they talk about the shovel. You're one of it's appreciated
I'm
now
sure
and then, but
people
you
talk
that
about
was the
it.
most enthusiastic.
Well, I'm looking around and I just am
Garrett
like,
got really excited too.
you know, yeah, it's like my childhood all in one.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for because it's also
yeah.
my childhood.
Yeah.
Another thing you don't track as is a guy with a wife and kids.
By the way, because I'm so horny all the time.
Yeah,
sure.
So horny all the time, always turning into rose petals, playing video games, picking up huskies.
No, I do have a wife and children. Yeah, it's kind of funny that. Yeah, thanks, dude.
Oh yeah, brother.
We're still trying to figure that one
respect.
out.
I got two kids, a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old, which
Yeah.
is just like a huge part of my life. I don't know. Maybe I have good work-life balance. in
Somehow.
that it's like.
Well, that's what you're uninstalling Expedition 33. That's how I know.
No, I
like
literally-
'cause the Bachelor version doesn't. We don't uninstall.
No,
You know
the
what I mean?
Bachelor version is me moving on to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
That's me being like, look, I gotta grow up and play a different kind of similar game.
Yeah, there's like a lot of things in my life now where I start a game and there's too much lore. I'm like, I'm never gonna play this. Like
Yeah.
if it's too much all of a sudden. But I did uninstall it because I was like, my wife was like, oh, you put one of the kids to bed and she put the other one to bed. And she was like, where'd you go? And I was like, oh, in my head, I know that I was like playing picto porn on
right.
on Expedition 33.
You burst into pedals in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
Is it maybe this is naive. I sort of always assumed that sometimes having a kid
yeah.
enforces the work-life balance out of necessity.
I would say that one of the reasons that I've had any sort of success is because I had kids and then had to figure it out. And I was
So
like-
are you
like,
recommending that we have tactical children that might
yes.
improve
I
our
remember implementing
productivity?
that you employ tactical children.
Employ
You
tactical
deploy
children.
them actually.
Oh, I
you
deploy
sort
them.
of you play them. You play their
like
their-
some like
their
Pokemon.
pictos.
in
you
that
summon
way.
them, summon
Yeah.
your children. But when I had
I have
my
the materia for a 5-year-old.
right. When my first son Julian was born, I was still working at Try Guys and I had started Perfect Person. So I had like effectively 2 full-time jobs. And I was
Yeah.
doing the Patreon for Perfect Person. So it was like I was working all the goddamn time and I kind of was like, okay, I need to work really hard on the other thing because I want to leave my job and just do my own thing.
Right.
And so it has actually, somehow worked out that the kids made me way more productive and enforced that like, oh, I have 6 hours to work. I really need to work. I can't just like fuck around.
That is how I feel when in college I had like an exam in like let's say 2 hours and I hadn't studied for it at all. And so I was like, well, now I need to make use of this time.
Oh, yeah,
The
you're like-
exam is way shorter than 2 hours. There's no way you need more than that.
Right.
Learn the exam.
Learn the exam, cheat off of it,
Me
drop
failing.
the ANSYs.
Me whiffing every test.
I would convince myself that, well, I have photographic memory. I don't. So I could,
But what if I did?
but if I did,
wish.
then I could easily learn this material quickly.
So apparently Gaten Matarazzo has a photographic memory. That's how we memorized all the lines.
Oh yeah, supposedly gets a monologue locked in out of nowhere or whatever.
Wait, is he the guy from Stranger Things?
Holy shit.
The boy.
You guys
He's-
are not actually in my algorithm. You're not fucking with the new season of Stranger Things?
I haven't seen the season. I did see one of those insufferable GQ interviews where they talk about his photographic memory.
That's
And
exactly what I said too.
Yes. And then he says something like, yeah, sometimes we're actually able to like improv on the show. This episode of Sad Boys is sponsored by Cozy Earth.
We're leaning into the season of love approaching Valentine's Day. How are you going to show yourself some extra love and care this month?
Maybe start by slowing down, enjoying the little things, and making your home into a relaxing haven.
Maybe treat yourself or a loved one to a pair of Cozy Earth pajamas. They are perfect for gifting to that special someone and also taking care of yourself for a nice, cozy night of sleep.
Cozy Earth pajamas are a total sleepwear upgrade. They're made from viscose, which comes from bamboo, so they have a great feel and they stay cooler and you're more comfy in your bed. Your temperature stays just right. If you've been waiting to try these pajamas that sold out over the holiday season, now is the time because they're back in stock. And from January 25th to February 8th, they are bog off, aka buy one, get one free.
Bog off. I like that.
So you can pick up a pair for yourself and someone you love.
Yeah, who would you give an extra pair to, bud?
I'll probably find someone I love and then give it to them.
You can try Cozy Earth risk-free, and if you don't love them, you can return them with no hassle.
And Cozy Earth comes with a 10-year warranty.
What?
Which is kind of crazy.
I mean, once you feel this level of comfort, you're going to want it to last for 10 years. Celebrate everyday love with comfort that makes the little moments count. Head over to CozyEarth.com and use code SADBOYSBOGO to get your buy one, get one free offer before February 8th.
Maybe tell them that you heard from us.
Thanks to Cozy Earth for sponsoring this episode. There's an old interview of Zooey Deschanel like doing promo for Elf.
Yeah.
And
was
it's
a bit
at the end of the
electric.
day. So for people who don't know, when celebrities do these interviews, they are kind of, a lot of times they're in the same place and like a rotating cast of publications is coming through, interviewing them, giving them the same questions over and over. Zooey Deschanel is, and it's an exhausting thing. Of course, being an actor, especially one who's getting work, there's a lot of privilege to it, but this is an aspect a lot
It
of
is
people,
physical hours either way.
it's grueling and you're getting asked the same like monotonous questions over and over. She gets asked at the end of one of these days, I have to assume, are you on the naughty list or on the nice list?
Holy shit.
And then she's like, and it's like, feels like a trap because if she says naughty, then everyone's going to take it the weirdest way, right? So she's like, nice, of course. And then later, like very shortly after, she's like, I don't fucking know, man. Give me a shotgun. she's like
That's
and
naughty.
I'm like,
That is, I've talked about it before, but my favorite part of any of those interviews is always the, why does Sebastian Stan always wear a white t-shirt? Or, the Google search ones.
Yeah, right.
And then their faces when they bring out a third board, when they think they're almost done, and they're like,
They go, oh, I thought I was one and
That's,
done. I'm ready for lunch.
oh,
Yeah.
why would Steve
that's when there's an
Buscemi-
extra phase to the boss. The health bar goes down to zero and then it goes all the way back up.
You're like, I beat it, but there's a cut scene.
Oh, no, I don't like
I
this.
used all my Estus, but the big text didn't come up.
Yeah, you didn't get the big
And they're
thing.
like, walk over and grab the item. No.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
upset about how the
Jesus.
music seems to have gotten more hype instead of relaxing in a climax.
Have you guys ever done like a day of press like that? Like that feels
Never done a day of
It
press.
feels like such a specific, like archaic form of journalism that only exists for like, oh, I'm in a movie and we're doing that.
Right.
you know?
I guess it is all of the like establishment Hollywood presses that are
right,
doing
yeah.
it, but I can't even imagine the feeling of, well, okay, I need to lock in right now.
Oh my God.
Because no matter the publication, I don't want a clip circulating from my interview with Esquire where they said like, what's your favorite movie? And I just said the one I like and not number one. And what's your favorite Marvel movie? And I blank and I say like, Batman.
Yeah, and that does happen.
Loser. He doesn't know anything.
No more movies.
Miles, so first of all, we first like worked together when you were working on Try Guys podcast.
Yes. Yeah, because you did the show. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You were the Try Guys guy.
I was the Try Guys.
you were the Try Guys guy, and then you left and then came back.
That's right.
It was like
You
a
tried to not be a Try Guys guy, and then you went back to Try Guy guy.
Exactly.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I left as like a full-time guy, and then I came back as like a part-time guy.
as a part-time try.
As a part-time try.
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right. And so I got to like be talent in videos after I already was just working there full time, and then I left doing my thing. And on my way out, like in the exit interview, I was literally like, "You guys should hire me back to do videos because the audience already knows me. And it'd
Power
so
play.
stupid to not do." And they were like, "Okay, yeah, great." So then I
Power
did the
move.
podcast.
Maybe later.
Actually, hire me back for a different job.
Yeah.
And I make the rules.
And also, I only come in sometimes, and they were like, "Okay, like, that's
We've
fine."
already filled the role.
Yeah.
Oh. Outplayed.
Fuck.
But so
But yeah, it worked out.
concurrently with that, you've been doing Perfect Person.
Yes,
Your
correct.
advice show,
It's my
call-in
main-
advice show.
Live tour of it.
Live tour
You
of
tour
it.
it. You're a freak and a devil.
I'm a little freak in the devil on
Yeah.
them.
And I think the craziest factoid about Perfect Person, which is a show that we've also been on. If
That's
you
right.
Wanna,
Yeah,
if you,
check out.
If you want to try it out. So you were simultaneously doing this with your other job.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where you could, pursue that.
Yeah.
And then now you're a part-time try. So you're
Mhm.
kind of balancing. one of the crazier factoids about this is that you get a lot of call-ins and
Yes.
you review them all yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's insane.
This is why we said you're a twisted, fucked up Joker style
I'm a
individual.
fucked up kind of guy. I still do though. I get in a couple hundred usually before every episode, and I go through all of them myself. And thankfully, because there's a bit in the live show where I talked about that, but thankfully the Google transcribes them now.
Yeah.
So I'm able to like read them quickly.
Yeah.
But previously I was listening to all of them. But yeah, so I get to, and I see this is a part of the documentary, which you guys are very kind to watch the documentary. But a big part of it is me talking about how I will recognize people from their problem and make their contact list. So all my contacts are problems like fucked my ex's best friend or like
Right.
whatever. Yeah, I still do that.
Well, yeah, I guess let's get into it because you and Ashley,
Shout out.
and I obviously there were other people involved, but you guys edited the doc.
I would say there was only other people involved when we shot it, but otherwise me and Ashley
Otherwise,
made
it was
it.
you and
ours.
Ashley.
Yeah,
and
we
you
ju-
didn't
it was
even
just
do
me
it.
and Ashley.
And I
yeah.
think you guys did an incredible job. The question of how much should you insert yourself
Oh yeah.
into someone else's life when their relationship with you is that you're the host of the show they listen to.
Yeah, arguably like my favorite part of the doc, and probably the part where I look the worst, is the end, where basically the premise is someone gets called into the show, talked about somebody else, they're this musician, and then I decide to have that musician open the show in Brooklyn, and it is kind of like the fallout feels like too big of a word, but it's like the repercussions from doing that and from inserting myself into an anonymous caller's life. And like, I think that like, there's a world when I was, me and Ashley were talking about like, do we include this? Like, and I think I just was like, okay, it is maybe in a messy territory. It doesn't necessarily make me look good, but I actually think I'm happy to represent somebody struggling to figure out what the right call is.
Because there's not a, in fairness, there's not a manual for how to navigate this type.
And also like it's one of those things where like, yeah, I got to give this musician this awesome opportunity and people are singing along to her songs. And she's like an independent musician that's like, I've never done the show this big. This is by far the biggest show I've ever done. And people in the crowd know her song already.
Yeah.
Like it's like and I was like, to give her that experience is so good, but it means
But at what cost? Because
At
it's
what
like,
cost?
and what's
Yeah.
the song about? Why do they know the song?
correct.
Right?
So and I say this in the doc and stuff, but I don't think that I will ever do anything like that ever again because it was this messy territory.
Yeah.
And I think that what I learned doing that whole thing was like, the show was started out and it's supposed to be this very goofy thing, and as I've done it for longer and longer, it still is very dumb. Don't don't get it twisted. But
It's a bad show.
exactly, it's a badge of honor.
Shitty show.
It's a shitty show.
It's a shitty show.
But it kind of has this heart where people really are listening to it, wanting a genuine thing. And so it's that fun. It's like, funny, sad. It's like, I'm like goofing around. Before I end the call, almost exclusively, I go like, oh, and here's like probably what I really think.
Right.
Well, I guess it's a little peculiar because when somebody says something like very, very open to you,
Yeah.
it is like implied intimacy.
Yeah.
Like when you say the words "I love you," those it's just a bunch of letters, but we have like coded that into meaning a certain type of relationship. It must be established. They said the words. I think there's this weird like uncanny valley parasocial relationship thing where if someone doesn't know you at all, and no matter how much they may know you from content, just doesn't have any connection to you whatsoever, then it is even easier to tell you something tragic than it would be if they knew a little bit, quite a bit, a lot, or really well. Like I have to assume that a lot of people sending truly traumatic, DMs or emails our way, or voicemails or mails your way. I would struggle to say that to the people that they're very close to far more.
Oh,
because it's
certainly it's too
borderline
hard.
a diary to send it into
Well, it's
you.
like when you go to the doctor and you're like, I'm not going to show my best friend this weird scab that's developing, but I'll show it to my physician.
But if
Exactly,
the doctor,
right.
if the doctor just went like, oh, are you okay?
Yeah,
I
I'd
would be like, what
whoa.
the
But
fuck?
that reminds me of like, two things you said. To call it, I think so. I take calls on my show. I call them back and I solve their problem. To call it parasocial, honestly, I think lets me off the hook too much
Yeah,
because
that's
I am
true.
quite literally calling them back
Right.
to talk to them about
It's
their
just social.
life.
Yeah.
It's just social. Like, I think that there's an element where like that thing happened and part of me wanted to brush it off and be like, oh, well, it's just a parasocial relationship. Like, they don't really know me. And it's like, no, I am really involved here.
But
I'm calling
I'll
them.
bring it back to parasocial because the for a person to make that initial contact, they need to have some comfort, and that comfort is born of seeing your interactions. So there's a weird social graph of like parasocialness, because people who listen might have parasocial relationships to other random strangers, like who just happen to also be callers into the show.
And I'm curious about what you guys are speaking about this, but like, people are like, obviously, excluding the insane people, but like, I love like meeting people that listen to the show. It makes the world feel like such a small, like we were on tour and people were coming up to me being like, I'm the girl who banged her frenemy's dad. And I would be like, oh my God. Like,
but yours has like hot goss.
It depends on the relationship with the audience. But like, I am so psyched on that. And like, I'll meet people and they'll be like, hey, like, we've talked on the phone before. Like, it's not they like my content. It's like, oh, we actually have, because at this point, we're at episode 180. We take about 2 to 3 calls. So it's like, let's call it 1,000 people I've talked to on the phone, and I'll meet those people at shows.
The Zoomer nightmare.
No,
I was just saying. Like, I think I've adopted the Zoomer mentality of being afraid of phone calls. So that's why your show is it's like a wish fulfillment. It's like somebody who's not afraid of talking on the phone.
I love it. I fucking love it.
I do. Thank you again, everybody that just came to the live show we did a couple of weeks ago. I bring up specifically because I went to go to meet my partner in the lobby and then head out, and a bunch of people stuck around saying hello. They were very starstruck by Jacob, which I found very wholesome, and with Peeps, it was very sweet, and with Anastasia. Actually, they were crazy for Anastasia.
Cuckoo.
What were that?
Except I ran away and hid.
You fled. They said like, is Anastasia here? I was like, oh no,
that's hilarious.
I don't know if she was ever here.
Well, that's like, I feel like Ashley has the same experience where Ashley will be like setting up the cameras and people will be like, what?
Yes, notoriously. Oh my God, there's one time we were in Boston and the venue is massive. It's like 1,000, 1,500 people.
Yeah.
And I'm going from the merch booth to backstage just to get like, we have people write down problems on cards. And so I'm doing that. And I have like a security detail, which is crazy to me.
Right.
And I'm walking by, the entire theater goes, Ashley! And I get so nervous, I go into the wrong wing.
Oh,
and
no.
So let's go back and around.
You go into the crowd, sit down.
I was like, who's this? Like, who's Ashley? I'm so scared.
That's so funny.
There was somebody at the live show who specifically referenced a joke I had forgotten about, but a joke I was in love with, and it has put it back into my vernacular, much to the chagrin of everyone in my life. Is for those who don't know, the joke where I got really obsessed with the song Wicked Game by Chris Isaac.
Oh.
And I got obsessed with, under any circumstances, looking at something and going, what a wicked game we play. What a wicked game. And then this very, very sweet, very shy person was like, can we get a photo? And I was like, yes, this is next. I went, wicked game we play.
Oh, that's so
I was
cute.
like, yes.
Yeah, man.
That's social.
That's the best. Yeah, it's like I was at my friend's birthday, and like all my close friends do the show, but then also do like the Patreon episodes. And somebody like ran into us at a brewery and was like, "Oh my God, it's like all like," because it was just my homies. It was like my friend from college, and they were like, "I know, that experience."
You guys hang out?
I love.
I do love hearing about what the show means to people and stuff like that. It's always tricky in crowd situations
totally.
because you don't want to create a safety hazard, especially when you don't have security detail. If I go to an event like Magic Con, there's no such separation.
Yeah.
And so I have to be the bad guy a lot because I am like really exhausted and
Going somewhere
or need to sit down and recharge, but I can't go back to my hotel. So I like eat a hot dog in front of a wall.
That's the best.
Yeah. Just like so that no one can see, like, because it's not that I think I'm like, so important. It's just that I need to recharge for the next thing I got to do. Yeah.
You eating a hot dog, man, though. If I'm a big fan of you and I see you sneaking a hot dog, I'm like, that's my best day.
Yeah.
One of the
it's like a
most
photo of me just
challenging-
staring at a wall eating a hot dog. Like,
So imagine you facing a wall eating a hot dog.
the idea that the hot dog has somehow gained some cultural footing as the portable meal.
Oh, I love it.
I understand it in theory. And then as soon as you're halfway through a bite that includes the bun and the condiments,
Yeah, it's not.
you go, this isn't for outdoors.
It's not so portable.
I can't.
By the way, are you guys are you eating hot dogs now? Where are you at now
In
with
life?
hot dogs?
Well,
Just on
so-
a normal, everyday
At a
basis.
basketball game, maybe.
yeah, I'll eat them at an event.
But you're not buying a hot dog pack.
I do not have a hot dog in this house.
Because I don't eat hot dogs much, but I did recently on like a July 4th. We got hot dogs to make on the grill or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a whole pack left over, and I was like, let's toss one of these in for lunch. End of the day, no more hot dogs left.
I
snacked on those puppies.
It's a little Pringly with it.
It's just because it's microwave with a little mustard.
So that was like look, I didn't grow up with a lot of means, and so you could go to Sam's Club and get like a 48 pack of Oscar Mayer microwavable dogs.
Yeah, boom.
And that was like multiple weeks of meals, I must say.
I love it.
That Wienermobile.
Yeah.
They selling hot dogs?
No.
No.
They're giving out hot dog whistles.
It's promo only?
So, excuse me. They're
giving out hot dog whistles.
What is a whistle?
If you get attacked by a hot dog.
I went up
It's
to
like
the
a
winner
hot dog
reveal.
you whistle like a bear.
That sounds, by the way, like a key item that summons the wiener.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Hot
mean?
dog whistle. Sorry, get in there through the shadow gate, blow the whistle.
Figuring out an especially one of the
comes
later
in.
really weird Resident Evils.
Hot dog whistle.
So,
Rotate.
Yeah, rotate it around.
There's a number.
speaking of being mobbed after a show,
What?
and that being like a potential dangerous situation.
Are you
see
doing a
what you're
segue right
doing.
now?
I see.
Really liking
I
this.
see
Yeah,
what
go
you're
for it.
doing.
Imagine
That-
getting mobbed by a hot dude.
No, no.
Yeah, instead
That
of
happened
hot
recently.
dog, how about hot dude?
That happened recently to Hudson Williams, star of the runaway hit show. He did
That's how
Rivalry.
you do it,
Wow.
dude.
And
The posture you took on, you were doing the Hamilton.
well, I knew I was killing it. But
Not throwing away your shot.
he
Not
was
one bit.
on Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He leaves
That's a shame.
the venue out the side door, like thinking I'm okay. And there is a mob there freaking out about him, wanting photos and autographs and stuff.
Not to obviously he's done nothing wrong, but it is funny to be like, oh man, there'll probably be a lot of viewers outside. I'll take the side door where no one will check.
Yeah, no one's gonna be on
Obsessive,
the side.
scary fans, they'll probably think I'm coming out of the front of the building.
They're gonna be where they're
have
supposed
to
to be.
leave at some.
He should hang out.
Helicopter.
What's he gonna go play hockey?
This is not like lots of celebrities go to the Tonight Show, and
Sure.
so they actually have security detail that help people get into a car. And I think it was just very it was worth noting because a few weeks ago this kid had no fans.
Yeah, he's now huge
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
He was
It doesn't have any
loser.
of the info. Like that's one of the weird things about celebrity in our modern age is that it takes a while to catch up infrastructure wise or even money wise.
Yes.
Like if you
he
don't
did
have
one show,
Yeah.
like first
Before
season.
he was famous.
And it
Probably
wasn't
on a streamer, like
The stars of that show live in apartments. One of the stars, Connor Story, said that he had to move out of his apartment because there was no fence, and so people were like coming up to his apartment.
They all had to sleep on the ice.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
cold
In igloo
as
huts.
hell.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
But so
That's for the steamy scene. It's melting.
sent Jacob a few clips of Hudson Williams talking about this fan behavior, and we can go into other crazy stuff fans are doing.
He's so
but
good, dude.
He's on Evan Ross Katz's podcast recently and talks about how wild it's been.
Never really struggled with social anxiety since 9th grade. For the first time in a while, I was just out to get some lighter fluid at my SkyTrain station in Vancouver, and I was like, and I remember like looking down, planning my exit. I was trying to like avoid the masses of people because I'm in gym shorts, like a hoodie, a hat, like look gross. I think I'm in like dusty ass sneakers. And I remember for the first time, I had like just a huge amount of social anxiety of just, let me get to the car because I'm not in a social mood. I don't want to be rude. And if someone stopped me, I would talk to them for 6 minutes or however long they chatted my ear off. But that's not exactly what I want to do right now. I want to get home.
Yeah.
Wait, so how did they know? Is he being tracked?
So he literally is having a like Beatles mania moment.
Is he one? He's one of the main two.
He's one of the main two. So
Puppies.
it's Hudson Williams and Connor Story. And both of them are like, people are making fan pages for them. The Club Chalamet lady made a
I saw that.
ugh,
Story time
gross. Yeah.
is what she's calling it.
And people are saying, like, you know, spotted over here, like paparazzi are following them. Hudson Williams has been compared to Princess Diana because of the amount of like paparazzi that follow him around.
It reminds me of like, how do you diffuse that? Because that would suck too. Like if all of a sudden, like it's nice to have attention, whatever, but it would suck to be like, oh, I can't do any of the same shit that I was doing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Robert Pattinson had that thing where his super fan was waiting outside of the set every day and would be like, Robert, like, and they would like follow him to his hotel. And so one day he got coffee with her and just talked about all his problems, and she never came back.
Whoa.
It's like an iconic Robert Pattinson story. He was like, I think if I sit down with her and I just am like, yeah, I'm depressed, I'm like feeling about this, like I'm worried about how the movie's going to do, whatever. And then she just saw him as a person and didn't come.
Right.
anymore.
It's like, because that's the issue, is that you're not being seen as a person.
Yeah, you're
That's
just like
She's cultivating relationships with strangers because she doesn't want to do that
filled
with
in
people.
they filled in the blanks with everything perfect.
he's so perfect, and
Yeah.
whatever. And he's like, no, I'm like a fucking mess.
He cut me in line at a bar once.
yeah.
And I was like, dead to me.
I haven't gotten to become that the kind of actor that does weird voices in every movie yet.
I love it. The Mickey 17 voice cracks.
He loves a voice.
I love it, dude. He's the best.
Hudson Williams talks about that, like how we don't see celebrities as people, that they're this kind of other thing that only exists like for our entertainment.
Doesn't it feel a little bit like
it's
kind of
a-
an arms race?
A
Don't we-
little bit, yeah.
Don't we have enough exposure to like TMZ following someone around feels like a relic of an era where it was the only time you could see them outside of an interview.
Correct. They weren't
but now
posting
it's
on social media.
constantly published. I don't understand what you would
So
need.
one thing that happened to Hudson Williams was that he was walking through JFK Airport. Everybody knew he was at the Tonight Show, and now he's going to the Golden Globes.
Jesus.
And so people were like waiting for him at JFK, and people started taking, like, just regular people, not paparazzi, started taking photos of him as he's like walking to his gate, as he bent over to like grab something. And he's like, it feels weirdly violating that someone is like publishing a photo of my ass online.
Oh, yeah.
And tagging like TMZ and stuff. And I don't want this photo out here. I don't look my best. I don't feel my best.
The fact that needs any qualification, as opposed to like which is bad.
Yeah. Like you should just be able to be like, that's fucking insane.
That's been bad.
People are taking photos of me anywhere. Like
That's been bad since
I will
cameras.
say there's a
from a
TikTok
stranger.
trend right now that is it's about like couples or something. I don't know what the trend is, but I started getting tagged with like me and my ex from 6 years ago.
No.
And people were making like fan cams of us. And
What?
someone was like, they were my Jelena and shit like that. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
It was a.
I tried to turn
I
off
see.
like tagging because I was getting like collaboration requests and shit on Instagram.
Why is that the time they don't tag FaZe Jarvis?
Yeah, no, literally, dude.
Really confused
I
FaZe
was like,
Jarvis.
this is it's so bizarre. Like,
Yeah, that's wild.
because in what universe would you think that that's like an okay thing to do?
Well, you don't
like, 'cause we
exist.
broke up 5 years ago.
Yeah,
But
that
that-
is really crazy.
It is
And-
because you don't exist.
Right.
It
so
is-
that's
Yeah, you're
the
not
thing.
a guy.
It's like
Yeah.
It's Pepper Potts
it's like
and
you're
Tony
actually
Stark.
in character. You're the character on the screen.
So there's an even more insidious element to this. So people are watching this, and now they're shipping the two main actors.
Right.
Which one of them
And-
is in a relationship
Well,
with a woman, right?
no, none of them are sharing about their personal lives. All of the actors are
You just have an
being-
inside scoop.
I literally okay. Did I? Yeah, I heard one of them has a girlfriend.
Badass.
Well,
Maybe I missed
so
that.
they
In your head, Caleb.
In my
haven't
head,
shared anything.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he does. I don't know.
I mean, but there are people stalking them, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they
that's
might
true.
have put two and two together from like unofficial means.
The two younger guys, Connor Story and Hudson Williams, they are like, we don't want to talk about our sexuality.
Yeah, totally.
We don't want to talk about our personal lives in that way.
These guys like what 20?
24, 25.
Oh, that's That's
And the older star of the show, Francois Arnault, is 40. And he came out a long time as bi. And so he lives in LA. Connor Story lives in LA. They've become friends. Who knows what their relationship is? But now Francois Arnault is getting death threats from fans saying, stay away from Connor. He belongs with Hudson.
Sorry, but that's so crazy? Do we think that's like a 16-year-old?
Yes.
You know
So
what I mean? Like,
he essentially has said, I think these are very young fans who don't understand the difference between fantasy and reality.
Totally.
Yeah, or if they do, they haven't learned to like humanize someone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like even if they understand the difference, there's a certain amount of empathy that has to like come in.
The craziest part about it is, again, no confirmation that they're actually dating. They're friends. They've been seen hanging out and traveling together. And people are saying because he's 40 and Connor Story is 25, that he's grooming Connor Story.
Oh my God.
Sorry, he's 25.
They're on the same set every day. Suspicious.
Since we're on the topic, I saw you hanging out with a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old, and I think that's
it's problematic age parent.
It's
I have young children.
like what the fuck, dude? What do you have in common with a 3-year-old?
Not much. Let me tell you.
They're always
much.
crying.
Yeah.
I can't have ice cream. Shut up.
The baby loves milk, and so do I. I drink it every day, whole milk.
Terrifying.
Well,
You drink the whole milk?
I'm a whole type guy.
Glass?
Sorry.
Just a tall
No, I like.
I'll
whole
have a
milk.
piping glass of cold whole.
piping.
A piping? It's piping with cold
piping
steam.
cold.
Yeah, it's like you put dry ice in it.
I like it to foam out.
You gotta be careful, man.
Frizz.
Not Vesuvius.
No, I fucking love it, man. I drink whole milk. What can I say?
Justice for whole milk drinkers.
Thank
This
you.
is all whole.
All whole, baby.
Oh wow.
Whole is
Suck
back,
the whole
dude.
thing down.
Whole is back.
I'm tired of
me when I'm Courtney Love.
Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant. But whatever.
You
We're not
are-
talking
you
about
are
it.
realizing-
for whole milk.
I am gonna say something that maybe is not top of mind for you right now. That RFK Jr.
Oh my God. Sorry. Sorry. Cut the cameras.
We should.
Don't let me in.
We could edit that so it's you saying whole milk. You were saying raw milk.
No.
So we should. No, we'll edit it.
I've
You
never
know you're
had
saying
raw.
whole milk.
Can we pull up the Robert F. Kennedy milk thing where
No
he has
way.
the milk mustache? Because it's so crazy.
Is he doing a galt
More
milk?
milk mustaches?
They're doing like a Make
said-
America Drink Milk again. But it's like an AI. It's like an AI video of him like drinking milk at a club. Or
No
something.
way. An AI video of drinking milk. This is crazy.
What? James McAvoy?
Well, why is he there?
Yeah, these ads.
ending
Like,
the-
I
Oh my
don't understand
God.
why.
Like whole milk.
I saw like some conspiracy theories that this was originally going to be about raw milk, but then I've also seen arguments to the contrary.
Sorry, is that a Stardew Valley with Trump in it? What
Was
the
that one
fuck?
of theirs or was that like a meme response?
Do
to
they
it?
think it's
like
a meme.
own like
oh no,
milk
it wasn't
stock?
a meme. Get out of here.
Oh my God.
They put POTUS in Stardew Valley.
So what? Sorry, go on.
Who's that for?
What are his items? He has an American flag. He has a lot of more milk and Diet Coke.
He has a MAGA hat. He has a police badge.
What you and an iPhone?
A Diet Coke.
That's not really how the inventory looks.
no,
So-
not at all. You have a lot more items than that for one.
Yeah.
And they're about farming mostly.
Yeah, it's.
Oh
Is
my
this
God,
a video? Yeah, seemingly AI video. Here it is.
Jesus. When you first take that first sip of whole milk. Oh. God, I hate this.
That's
Yeah,
humiliating.
it sucks so
This is
bad.
definitely AI, obviously.
It's 100% because he no longer looks like himself in that.
Yeah, he looks like a person, kind of.
Also, he doesn't have a regular mustache, so he's not going to have a milk mustache.
Yeah, he's just bad at drinking.
Is that from the official account?
yeah.
That's from
That's from
himself.
Dang, everything
Secretary
sucks.
Kennedy.
Man, I hate
Fucking sucks,
this.
bro.
All sucks.
So anyway, I'm gonna actually stop drinking whole milk after watching that.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
I don't drink
Yeah,
whole
I'm
milk
done
in
too.
massive quantities, I should say, but I will like drink a little bit. Like if I'm eating a cookie, and I'm like, oh, you know what would go good with this? I'm like Santa Claus.
Yeah, I don't
You think Santa Claus
Coke,
is
like,
disgusting?
everywhere.
Yeah.
Before the show, after the show,
That's right.
on my way
So
home,
on
in
my
the
way home
car,
and right before bed.
and then a tall glass of milk, sprinkle of cocaine.
I think it's rude that he leaves a little bit on the plate. Were my cookies not good? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I'm not going to forget
My
that I gave
Santa
him milk.
eats all the cookies.
My Santa ate all the cookies. So did I when I was
Not
well,
like a tasteful crumble. I will say,
Ladies. Yeah.
I was a skeptical Santaman. I was skeptical about the existence and all of that. And then someone said to me, you know, that's just your dad doing it, right? And I went, ha ha ha. He lives in Kenya. You've been owned. And then it reactivated my belief. I went like, well, it can't be my mum.
Yeah.
Santa's a boy.
Santa's a boy. Yes, for the dads.
How would he carry all the stuff?
So whole milk it's a fabrication. It's a farce. When I was young, I knew about 2% milk and I knew about whole milk. Is it wrong that I thought that whole milk was 100%?
No, I also thought this.
It's 100% of what it promises to be.
And it's 4%, by the way.
Yeah, because the idea being that it's only 4% milk fat, they're taking half of that, and then they're taking half of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and then like you get into the creams, you know, when you go up in milk fat percentage.
There were no, it's in the UK, it was, I don't know if it's changed now, but similar to how we don't have like egg descriptors, there's no over easy, no, it's scrambled or fried egg. There is
That's a failure of the English language.
Semi-skimmed, sometimes skimmed milk, but very rarely, and just whole semi-skimmed, skimmed.
Yeah.
There's no numerical
percent.
breakdown.
Yeah, I don't know why we do it with a percent.
2% is such a weird, it's a weird time to introduce.
Yeah.
It makes me think that's really small.
And then, by the way, don't get confused because half and half is a totally different thing.
That's a good point. That's crazy.
That could be upwards of 6%.
There was another, so I haven't seen Heated Rivalry, but I am going to watch it. I started watching Succession randomly because I'd never seen it. I'm working my way through. Yeah, so I just finished Better Call Saul. I'm working my way through some shows.
Oh, yeah, man.
But it's on my list. But one thing I am caught up with is The Pitt. And so shout out to The Pitt. But Supriya Ganesh, one of the actresses on The Pitt, I saw a clip. It's relevant to parasocial relationships. I didn't tell you where this clip was, so maybe we can. You found it, perfect. This is why
I fucking love The Pitt.
It's so good.
I will watch a million seasons of it.
You know what's
Let's see
really
Ashley's
good
also link like
and
that.
gave me an option to watch the season again is that Dr. Mike did a reaction for every single episode.
Yes, right, totally.
And I'm like, yeah, I want to see what a real doctor thinks about it. And the whole time is him going like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Has he done this podcast?
We reached out, and mostly because we were watching as The Pitt reacts, and I think maybe next time he's in LA.
Because he doesn't live here.
doesn't
or
live
anything,
here.
so
Oh, yeah.
so
And he's a doctor.
Yeah,
he's like
a
busy.
fucking doctor.
The guy
I love Dr. Mike. I fuck with Dr. Mike so hard.
The guy's
He's
so
great.
lazy. He's always hanging out at the hospital. You're not sick, bro.
Yeah, come on.
if
Go home.
anyone is Dr. Mike listening,
If anyone is
anyone
Dr.
is
Mike
Dr. Mike
listening,
listening.
Sorry, if any Dr. Mikes are listening.
If
if any
Dr.
Dr.
Mike's
Mikes are listening, or if
anybody's
anyone
listening.
knows Dr. Mike, please tell him we're huge fans and
I
we
think
want him
we
on the
did
show.
reach.
We reached out to
something
his
happened.
reps and they were like, he doesn't live there. That was their response.
I feel like
Different question.
I feel like Dr. Mike will remember the times that we shared.
Yeah.
One time we were in an elevator with Tommy in it. Me, Dr. Mike, and Tommy in it. Strange group. Dr. Mike walks in, looks at Tommy in it, goes, "How are your balls?"
That's right, yes.
Holy shit. Oh, it's
Iconic.
because testicular torsion
He
or
had
something.
testicular torsion.
Didn't even Dr. Mike talk about it or something?
Maybe publicly now, but it started in that elevator.
Well, he
How are
had
your
them out.
balls? Man, honestly, the biggest flex would be if Dr. Mike was my primary doctor.
I think he's a primary doctor for children, maybe.
Well, then my kids have to get in there.
Yeah, got to get in there.
I feel
You
a
should
little-
toss one of your kids to him, and if he catches it, then he's like, "Well, you got to be their primary care physician."
And if he doesn't
Catch
catch
and
it,
release.
bad doctor.
Catch and release.
He fails his oath if he doesn't catch the baby.
You better do no harm.
I just was worried about, I don't know, I felt like the show was going to be a success, but I'm wrong a lot. So I was like, okay, just in case I'm wrong, I'm going to keep my day job and I'm going to tutor. And I was tutoring through season 1.
She was a MCAT tutor, so like the for med school.
Oh, that's so of course, by the way, of course med students love the show.
Yeah.
That does have to be an uncomfortable position to be in, though, if, actors, though they most often will be making plenty of money and be in relatively comfortable positions of privilege on a show, they are still tools and utility and kind of tossed around as they don't know how to live. They're our little things to play with, and having to be like, that's not I'm in MCAT too. That's not how that. Don't worry. Yeah. Seeing something that's obviously wrong on the show, be like,
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
And even after the show started airing, I was still tutoring. And I kind of realized it was maybe a success when people started signing up for my class just to see me. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, you'd be like, I don't know what an MCAT is, but we got the next hour.
I'll give
So
it a
your
swing.
character.
So I was thinking the character development's impeccable through season 1.
Do you think there's anything that could be healed with a kiss?
By the way, if anyone listening to this is Supriya Ganesh, I am not an MCAT tutor, but I do have a degree in computer science and was a teaching assistant. Maybe we should talk sometime about
Getting
teaching
married.
people stuff.
Like
Or
in marriage, hanging out. Yeah, she rocks. The
Yeah.
is so fucking good, dude. New episode Thursday. Hey.
But don't do that, by the way. Parasocial lights.
Oh yeah, that's crazy to sign up for a class taught by somebody who like it's like
not only want to give you what you want, as in like it's going to be scary and weird, and they're just going to leave, but it's also like, okay, if they don't immediately kick you out, you just want to learn about medical stuff.
Yeah, what is your goal?
You're like, and then she'll see me and be charmed by my obsession, and she'll be like, oh, that's strange. Goodbye.
That's the question, though, right? Is like, what is the goal?
Well, it's the dog catching the mailman. He doesn't have a plan once he actually gets there.
Somebody that up in like,
except for me, by the way. If
Somebody
Supriya Ganesh is listening to this, I'll have a plan.
And I know,
I'll find a plan.
And I know what I'll do. I'll take all the mail. That's why I'm chasing him. I want the Amazon packages.
I'll obscure some of the details of the story, but I was working at a place. Somebody had found the address and showed up, and they had no plan. And they were so embarrassed.
Oh man!
They knocked on the door and they were like, hey, so I found and I was like, hey, you cannot be here. Like, what are you doing? This is totally, and they were like, I'm really sorry. And they got there and it was like, you had no plan. You didn't need to do this. And you just did. It was like, what is the plan? That is
interesting.
You think we're not going to be weird? Like, we're not going to be like, hey, get out of here.
Yeah.
I think it's just supposed to fulfill whatever it's going to be a super video. They're going to watch it and it's going to give them all they get from watching a video times 10.
Yeah, no.
Because
the best one
way
ever.
less.
There's so many videos going on when they're not on my YouTube.
Secret.
If I could just get in the room, I'd see so many extra videos.
Secret video.
You guys would probably think like it's probably like lying about your dramatically lying about your height on a dating app.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it'll get you to the thing.
Well, you know,
maybe.
it's like, okay, so like I love seeing a celebrity IRL. Like it's my favorite thing.
Thank you.
But it's the thing.
Thank you so much.
And I actually wasn't talking about you.
Oh, okay.
But no,
good,
but
no.
I love it. It's my favorite. Like me and Ashley were at a coffee shop recently, and right behind her was Josh Hutcherson.
Oh,
and I loved it. But you know, it's like it was awesome because it was organic. It was in the wild. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And like we didn't say shit, and it was awesome. It was
I do love seeing him not saying shit.
Yeah.
Being like, I actually have things to do. Stephen Yoon.
No, it's like, I love that.
I saw him at fucking.
Oh,
I've seen him everywhere.
we saw him at
freaking the place. Oh, I can't. No, not there. But I actually don't want to say the place.
I was gonna say, do you?
It is. I shouldn't dox the place.
I've seen him like 3 times in the wild, and I'm like,
he's the best.
Wild, tall
it's
grass.
so fun every time.
One time I was in a line and I was with Dipper. He was just like sniffing around. He starts sniffing somebody's shoe, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I look up and it's Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family.
Nice.
See, that's honestly, I will say, like having young kids, that has happened a couple times where, like, you know, LA celebrities will see like our cute kids or our dog and be like, "Oh my god," like whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah,
that's what I thought.
And also, LA schools are full of celebrities.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it is super funny to be like, oh yeah, here's so and so who's huge, and we're just like, oh yeah, hey,
oh,
like,
what's up, dude? It's Jack Quaid Jr. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Jr.
Right before the live show, the previous show that was at Typewriter, we're Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Yeah.
Dynasty, yeah.
The Hayworth.
Also.
What the people from the previous show were leaving, and me and my partner walked in. We're like getting ready to set up or whatever, and this woman, she was like, "Oh, hey, you guys here for the next show?" I was like, "Yeah." Oh, what are you guys doing? I'm like, "Oh, it's Jarvis and Jordan. They're Sad Boys. It's a podcast." And she's like, "Oh, cool. Have so much fun." I was like, "Thank you. Hope your show went well." And then they left, and me and Cam go, She looked. Wait a minute. Do we know? It was Darcy Carden from.
Wait, you told Darcy Carden about us?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And we were like, she looks so familiar. Who
Darcy Carden's so sick.
Darcy Carden's awesome.
I met her at a One Direction concert.
What is going on?
You know what's funny?
so
Darcy, when I first visited LA before I moved here, we have a mutual friend, and I was like, I had been in LA for maybe 20 hours, and we were walking, and then it was like her and her family. And I was like, oh my god, hi, whatever.
My first 20 hours in LA involved me seeing Pete Holmes.
No way.
Being in line behind Pete Holmes at the same place that I saw Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
This is maybe
I also saw Rachel Sennett there.
Minor.
Name dropping.
Name dropping people we've seen.
We didn't even get to talk to.
Which I love because I
don't talk to them.
People being like, I want to see a person I want to follow. It's like, just don't follow them. See them in the wild. It's organic.
See them in the wild and don't engage. Like, notice all these examples of us not even saying anything.
Don't say anything to them. DM them later and tell them the coordinates of where it happened.
Oh my God. It's like, go to the zoo and you see a flamingo. It's not exciting. You go to the wild and you see a flamingo.
If you go to Griffith Park and you see a moose flamingo, this is too niche. I get the most excited when it's like relatively niche.
Yeah.
Celebrity that I almost forgot I was excited about. I went to a bar relatively near my place with a friend that I've not seen in a really long time, and it was very much been a long time dynamic.
Yeah.
Getting on decently well enough, but having to kind of socially lubricate a lot of it, some dead air to try and negotiate. And all of that completely disappeared after we both got very excited about seeing Sabad from Love on the Spectrum, who was just like strolling around the bar with his family, didn't say a word the entire time he was walking around, and we just kept going like, he's so sweet, he's one of my favorite characters in that whole season. And then I think we both stopped at the time we went like, oh, we're weird. What we're doing, this is what we think would be weird.
Yeah, right.
Is seeing Stephen Yeun and then while he's still there going like, Walking Dead.
You remember?
Remember?
He got
sleepy.
Man, dude, I am a Walking Dead head, by the way. Dude, I feel like me and you two talked about Walking Dead maybe when you were on my podcast.
I haven't seen Walking Dead, but maybe it was another show, like Lost.
No, because
couple deadheads.
Oh no! Last time I saw you, it was
we were at
organic in a coffee shop, whatever. And you were talking about how the Sons of Anarchy characters are like in the Walking Dead universe.
Oh yeah, they have the same vibe.
I was like, where am I getting this from? Anyway,
you're a similarly fucked up sick individual.
Yeah,
with a Joker style South Park mindset.
Yeah, I brought like an edgelord kind of vibe.
Right.
I was like,
whoa, somebody watch this Family Guy.
He's actually really fucked up.
I just included some fucked up little tidbits here.
She's wearing a Harley Quinn t-shirt with shoot sleeves and little holes in the side that she poked through with her thumbs.
Yeah.
You can't see me, but I am dressed like Harley Quinn.
Twisting, swirling a baseball bat.
Not the newer outfit, the Jester black and white leotard.
The Jester old school.
Old school.
Mime style.
Ashley's not on camera right now, which simulates the experience of Ashley in your videos, because I was watching your new series.
The low angle.
I was watching your new Graveyard Shift series, which I love. I think it's an amazing premise. I texted Ashley about it.
Yeah.
And I was about to ask if Ashley was involved, and then I heard behind the camera and go, yeah.
You can hear my little laugh.
And also, if you notice, I'm very tall. Ashley is not very tall.
Yeah.
And so the angle is almost always like pointed up at me.
It's
like
a
anti view.
I thought you'd gotten one of those little delivery robots to shoot.
Just me.
But it's very sweet of you to say that. We just shot another one, and then we're shooting 3 more, I think. So we're gonna do a season of 4.
So for people who haven't watched that, because I do really recommend it. I think it's like a very cool.
So nice.
It's a cool piece of content, and it's very like grounded and human and interesting. It reminds me a lot of like older school YouTube in a way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's called Graveyard Shift. It's basically we review 24-hour restaurants after midnight, and the goal with it, I was like, I want to interview people who work there and people who are dining there in a sort of like, I mean, I fucking love Anthony Bourdain. I think that's obvious if you watch The Thing. I'm way dumber than him, but I think that the idea was like, how can we, much like Perfect Person where we get real people with their problems, I was like, how can we like romanticize real people who are out late at night? And then also like try the food and just that like kind of eerie experience.
It's also just a type of thing that I am curious, because if I'm out in the middle of the night, I don't talk to anyone.
No.
I'm very focused on if I need a donut, I'm getting my donut and I'm going, or I'm getting whatever I need, and I'm not ready to talk about the situation that has landed someone else in exactly the same place at the same time.
Which has to be something. I feel like thematically there's kind of a tie to Perfect Person also, because it's like a little, there's always a story if you ask someone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because has to be kind of weird because they exist.
Yeah, and so it's correct. And also, we shot another one where we interview one guy and then the person who works there at the first one. In the second episode, we interviewed like 3 or 4 people who were out, and all of them were just like, oh yeah, we're like out dancing. Like, I just found that how did you all get to be here at midnight is a really interesting, problem.
Yeah, turning up being at a diner at 3 a.m. is not like the result of, I was just doing homework.
Yeah, like it's like usually someone's like, oh, I just came from this thing, or like, oh, I couldn't sleep and I was working on X, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's a theme in a lot of my stuff is just like romanticize the everyday whatever.
Which I think is good. I feel like we should do that more.
Yeah.
I'm very much we're living the good times right now, so we've got to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because
certainly.
even though everything is also terror and horrible, there is going to be some amount of romanticization of this in retrospect.
Yeah, definitely.
It's happening even with COVID now. And it's it was like the worst of times. It was a global pandemic. We were all inside, but there's a little piece of everybody who's like, oh, but there was this one little silver lining that I missed.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say,
of lockdown, which again, I think it's a very human thing to do. I'm not actually saying COVID was good. I think it's a natural human psychology to, in retrospect, take kindly to whatever situation, even if it's
necessity. I mean, how would you ever
it's like
be able to carry
it's like again, to make it really dark, when my mom passed away, I remember having a really good sandwich in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's always going to be a little bit of.
I can't make my 2020.
You had a good sandwich at the hospital, really?
I know, and it shouldn't
hospital food is so seldom
famously
good.
bad. Yeah, right. But I think it's like my palate was underdeveloped enough at the point.
You're like, fuck.
Right, where I'm like, whoa, I never had shit like this before.
It's so interesting you say that because sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, I was going to say, maybe this is too talked about on it. I had the first time I ever had a Big Mac in my life was in the kitchen after 2 hours after my mom died.
Really?
And she was in the other room.
And you were like,
because we're waiting. You know,
said, I guess I'll get it with the bun in the middle.
Well, the person I was there, I was in a funny mood. You know? And I was honestly, might as well get not twisted.
It is a funny sandwich.
Guys, it is one of the biggest cheering up kind of. There's a smile on the bar.
There is. You go happy. By the way, you couldn't be pitching it to the correct audience because when my brother died, so when I was 17, my brother died in high school.
Yeah.
And after he died in our house. He was like in hospice and stuff. He was sick for all. And these 2 men showed up who were gonna, take him to the crematorium or whatever. And I can only describe their look as looking like pimps. One was in a orange zoot suit and was humongous, and the other one was a very thin man in a purple zoot suit.
Oh, dude, you met Outcast.
No, both gentlemen were bald.
Both were bald.
Wow.
Well, they had but they had brimmed hats.
Right.
And they took them off, and they said, "My condolences." I'm not even lying. That is quite literally rural North Carolina. That's who's coming to your door.
Take off the hat, feather poking out of it.
Not feather. Not even making it up feather.
Sorry, hold my cane for a
How,
minute.
like Spirit Halloween. It was crazy.
And you're not supposed to laugh.
No.
Yeah,
And you're not allowed.
They didn't expect me to laugh.
No.
Did they have the classic the leader sidekick?
What's that?
Did they have the leader sidekick dynamic?
They did.
Yeah,
it felt that the thin purple man was the leader, and then the large orange.
I'm the muscle.
You know what? Okay.
Yeah, boss, I'll pick it up.
Okay, while we're here, I need to tell you the image that's being conjured in my mind as who's the pit boss of this situation. And you might not have seen it because we were talking about Dragon Ball earlier, and this is from Dragon Ball Filler. Can you open up a new tab and type in Krillin Garlic Jr.?
Yo,
yeah, this is similar. Very but purple and orange.
Yeah,
yes, this is it.
Wait, maybe try
Same
Krillin
face.
maybe Krillin in hat, because I do think there's another one of this.
Krillin in fedora.
Yeah,
sorry, this is my search term.
Krillin in fedora.
Yeah, there it is. That third photo is what I'm thinking of.
Yes,
That
correct.
is fire.
Yeah, exactly like that, but purple and orange. They're here to take my brother's body away. I'm like looking at the other people in the room, like, are you serious?
Yeah, they're supposed to be dressed like necromancers.
No, it was so fucking crazy, and like me and my parents still talk about it. We're like, how crazy
and I
is
think
this?
that you know,
you can't.
It was just, and
You
they were
can't
like,
mention
They were
it.
like, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I was just like, yeah,
It's okay.
What
You're
is
cheering me
what's
up.
happening
Yeah,
right
like,
now?
why are you dressed like that?
You're helping.
I think that's just like the humanity. It's like the human experience, and I think that given how much negativity and stuff there is in the world, finding little things to romanticize, I think is really awesome. I think it's a cool mission, and I feel like your podcast and your videos keep a very bright, fun element to them, regardless of the substance or topic. I like never walk away like feeling bad.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say, and I think that's certainly the goal. I think also like, yeah, I get so tired with like when I watch content, it being about these like influencers that have really unrelatable lives.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that I like about Graveyard Shift is like, you know, whatever. There's all sorts of great food in LA, and I love fucking fancy food. But the idea being that it's like the audience is probably more similar to someone that's getting a donut at midnight than they ever would be to being like, I'm trying $1 million burger and like I have a fucking
burger.
Cybertruck.
Yeah,
you know?
$1 burger and $1 million burger. One burger for you, scum. $1 million for me, person.
I'm gonna ram my Cybertruck into the Waffle House.
The face when you back over someone's head.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's like the audience probably is like, oh yeah, that's more like, you know, somebody that I know.
There's a specific moment in the doc actually. I think about it a lot. There's like a very you know, like we don't, the English language doesn't have the substance to like let us articulate everything in the emotional palette. Like it tends to fall into the buckets of like it's happy, it's sad, it's guilt, it's bad. You know?
Right.
And you kind of those little pathos, I guess, is a really hard one to kind of throw in there, or poignant, I guess. And there's filling the space in my head for that a lot has been. There's a point in the doc, not spoilers, I guess, but in the live show, you talk about your brother, and then as the like, that's obviously like a kind of the bright in your presentation but darkest moment, and then you pivot nearer to the end of the show into a dance sequence. And there's like, I think like rhythmically very that's like the case study for pathos.
It's like an inverse Severance, right? It gives you the opposite vibe.
Well, I end and this is at every live show, I say like it was the hardest moment of my entire life. Like I've never felt that way. I don't want to ever feel that way again. And then I play a fart sound effect.
Yeah.
And with reverb. And I just am like
a lot of reverb.
like, a lot of reverb. But I think, my favorite shit has always been like, like, you know, happy, sad, happy or whatever.
Right. And I feel like that's like tonally something that we relate to, because
definitely.
like when we started this show, it was about being able to bounce between these like very like emotional sensitivity or dark stuff with like just goofs and gaffs.
Yeah,
which I'd say is probably like just like it's hard to relate to some aspects of something too distant in the past to hold on to all the details of. I could be wrong. I sort of feel like that's a muscle that develops, because sometimes like people have said, it's how do you guys talk about things openly with people? Yeah. And the only thing I can ever think to say is, well, I didn't.
Yeah.
For a really long time.
Oh no.
And then I did a little bit, and then it hurt, and then it got a little easier because I was doing it more and more, and we're privileged to be afforded the opportunity to do that. That's obviously the big thing. But like, I think we talked about it before really this era of Sad Boys, because we used to do the show just like purely recreationally together when we still lived in San Francisco, still office job, nothing kind of in the same vein. And I remember us talking about how we had to start structuring the show in a way that accounted for how fatiguing it can be to talk about that.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just, if we free flow in person, you can, that's fine, because your intuition will kick in and you'll be like, hey, anybody, you want to get a coffee or something? You can pad it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the structure of a show where you know that you need to be on and you're avoiding dead air, but also you're filling that dead air with some kind of like slightly heavy and weighty topic, we would get to the end of recording and just be like,
I'm sure people who, we talk about therapy a lot, and if you've done therapy before, sometimes it'll be extremely draining.
Totally.
And adding like a performance on top of that is like not ideal.
No. But I totally, I relate to that feeling, and I, with my stuff, whenever because I've talked about grief before on the show, I get a lot of calls, or like, people reach out and be like, you talked about grief, that was helpful. And I'm always, appreciative of that. But I also, on the show, when I get the voicemails and I go through them, a lot of them are like, hey, my partner died, this person died. And I am hearing them and then having to be like, whew, move to the next
Yeah.
one because I'm like,
You're screening those out.
I can't do that every episode because it's like not really what the show is, but it can be sometimes.
But if you even extend, and this is it's a very human thing, and it's a practical reality of existing in the space that we do. If you extend that olive branch, unfortunately, there are going to be a lot of people who are like want to
continue the conversation.
Continue the dialogue or get help or whatever, and it's like you just don't have a limitless source of energy or time to be able to help everyone in the whole way that you would like to if you had infinite of every of those resources. And so that's another tough like aspect.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and we have taken calls before on the show that I have not aired because they were too intense and the person didn't really feel ready or whatever. And we've like, I basically would just stay on the phone like, hey, we're actually not going to put this in the episode, but I just hope you're okay, whatever. And then we'll just kind of cut it from the episode. But yeah, it's interesting because I also, when like you were just saying, like you aren't ready to talk about it. You know, for me, I went to college orientation like the day after my brother died. So I literally was like in transit from high school to college, went to high school, all new people. Nobody knew. Right. And so nobody knew for a while.
What's up, man? Let's do an icebreaker. I had a really nice sandwich yesterday.
Yeah. Well, literally, do you have any siblings is an icebreaker question in college. So constantly I was being like, and I actually remember talking to like, whatever, my grief counselor, like, what do I say? And she was like, you should probably just be like, yeah, I have a brother. Because if you're meeting someone new over and over, or like I grew up with a brother, is what like, oh yeah, I grew up with a brother, is like usually what I would end up saying.
Yeah, it is interesting that how like nuanced people's backgrounds and lives are and how unnuanced some of our like set phrases and things are. They just don't account for any of that. And so I find myself like wanting to lie because if I don't lie, then I have to explain a lot of stuff.
And also 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, most people who are that age have not gone through something intense. So they really don't have a like language or communication. I think it's like as you get older, it's like, now I'm in my 30s, like most of my friends have had some sort of tragedy. You know what I mean? Like as you get older, it just becomes more likely that you're gonna have that.
And have probably at the very least encountered the thing you're going to talk about in some way from someone else. It's totally. It's not Santa doesn't exist right at the gate level. It's just like, oh, Santa doesn't. You're right.
Yeah,
okay, good,
exactly.
Yeah. Which he does, of course.
I'm going to express a feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes when someone later in life is going through a horrible tragedy, because I went through some horrible tragedies as a child, I find myself having to remind myself to have empathy for them in a way. I'm like
purity testing.
I'm like, get over it. That's not the actual feeling, but it's like
it's your gatekeeping tragedy.
Gatekeeping tragedy. Oh, well, you had 15 years of maturity to deal with that.
They're letting fans in.
Yeah, no, but it's
I agree.
It's a gut reaction that you have. That I feel that I have to like catch before it escapes.
No, certainly I feel that way, and especially in college, I felt that way because somebody'd be like, "He just like I thought he liked me, and he doesn't," and I'd be like,
okay,
my brother died of cancer like 2 months ago,
right.
Like, but it would just and like obviously, I think the thing I had to learn in college was like, oh, tragedy and hurt feelings are not a meritocracy. Like the person who has the thing where their crush doesn't like them back, it might hurt the most it's ever hurt.
It's the same
them,
brain chemicals, right?
Yeah,
like it's like it's like so it might literally feel the same way to them,
and with and on some level knowing that it is a little bit invalid. Yeah. So they're kind of self-consciously. It's a kid screaming and crying about something that is worth a sigh. Yeah. Because they don't have the vernacular to like.
Oh yeah,
it's like the baby doesn't have words, so it's crying to express a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh, my 3-year-old, like sometimes the things that trigger such a large emotional response, like me and my wife will look at each other and just be like it's because it's so funny. He's just like he doesn't have the tools yet to be like, okay, I can't have, whatever, ice cream right now. And that is the biggest tragedy of my life.
And that is so awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's
like, but that's how you learn, like, there's something very beautiful about
I agree. It's very beautiful that the biggest tragedy of your life is no ice cream.
Like on his knees, like
throwing yourself
no
to the ground.
exaggeration, like on the, in the street, just like wailing to the sky because that's his experience.
Which is like, I mean, the truth is similar to how we're filing away and memory holing some of the more traumatic experiences of a difficult time, and then kind of like reconstituting, rebuild, recycle, whatever. Some of the, I guess, not positive memories, but like banal tree of life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've kind of feel the same about any time that I find myself cycling and spiraling on something that I know is absolutely worthless. As I get older, I am starting to laugh a little more at it, but at the time, the cortisol isn't changing in any way. Nothing is actually changing in my brain.
Yeah.
I am sat there going like, I fucking suck at Tekken, and it hates me. And they've put something in the Balatro code that makes the diamonds not come up when I need a flush. And I'm very sincerely having that feeling.
Right.
And then like going outside and being like, oh my God, the glow.
Yeah. Oh my God. We're on a
whoa,
planet. No,
this
I
is
will
a-
sometimes have to math out my anxiety loop to be like, oh, it's not equating. Something.
Right.
Like I'm feeling nervous. Okay, let's check out on my personal life. Doing awesome. Career, also doing great. Why am I nervous? Oh, this is like not I'm not being stimulated by something to be nervous. I just am nervous.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm dehydrated.
exactly.
One of the, that's
the most humiliating.
the checklist that my therapist gave. It's like eat. I can't remember. It's the 5 pillars, but it's food, water,
I'm seeing.
like I think community. There's a couple of them, but it's like checking off all those things before you go into like problem solving mode.
Totally. Yeah.
I recently showed someone The Matrix for the first time, a movie I love.
Great movie.
And
He wakes up in that big pool of whole milk.
it was
He does.
and he goes, delicious.
Yummy, put
He
me
has
back.
a big mustache. He's hairless, but has a big milk mustache.
Yeah, milk mustache.
Now, I sometimes I have a few like things about me that I think are bad, but I do them anyway. One is I love reading replies on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like I just love seeing people like just getting down and dirty and like arguing and stuff like that. Another thing is I like reading things that'll make me mad, and those are in the same thing.
Yes, yeah.
And so I went to the Metacritic for The Matrix, and and then I sorted by negative reviews. And I found a review from 1999 from a guy who fucking hated The Matrix.
That's so funny.
And I thought it would be fun to read this SF Gate / San Francisco Chronicle review because it's, I think SF Gate owns the Chronicle.
No,
Or
the
vice
Chronicle
versa?
is the newspaper, and when the internet first started, they were like, "We're going to create our news website, SF Gate." So
I see.
Cool.
it's the same
Oh.
thing.
It's the same thing
But-
because it's like, but this was in the paper because
This
it's
was in the paper.
San Francisco Chronicle senior writer Bob Graham. I am gonna dox his ass though.
Who may be dead.
Who knows?
He's
But
probably long dead.
his time has come.
We can only pray.
Yeah. We can hope.
And I think it would be fun to read this review. Can we blow it up?
Blow it up.
Okay, so wait, look. It opens with a non-functional image that was captioned "snoozing viewer."
That's awesome.
What could that have been in 1999?
It was probably deeply offensive.
It
It was a pre 9/11 Matrix review.
There's a guy that looks sleepy.
Yeah.
Okay, he calls it an opera. It's not.
Cyberspace
Space opera.
opera?
What would make it an opera?
Like a space opera
Theatrical,
though,
space-
like
yeah. Star Wars.
is like Star
Dramatic.
Wars.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, they don't sing.
No. It's like Cowboy Bebop or Star Wars.
Okay.
But the Keanu Reeves cyberspace opera The Matrix is a wonderful movie to chew up and spit out.
Oh, Jesus.
Someone else read the next line.
The Wachowskis, the hotshot, well, the Says brothers,
Siblings.
Antiquated writing and directing team clearly set out to astonish with this dude. And they certainly did.
It's astonishing that so much money, talent, technical expertise, and visual imagination can be put in the service of something so stupid.
Paragraph breaks between all of
By
them.
the way-
Get to the review.
Get to the point.
By the way, yeah, I like the rotating thing we're doing. I have to say that if you're unaware of the cultural impact of The Matrix, it is like known as one of the
Huge.
greatest science fiction movies of all
It was
time.
a
at this
movie
point.
chewed up and swallowed and preserved in the stomach by the industry forever.
Yeah,
it is still being chewed.
DNA is in everything,
It's in everything.
that exists. Yeah.
It was injected wholesale.
It has permanently affected our culture by creating the term red pilled. And now everything is pilled.
Everything
like,
is pilled.
My
It's just like
friend
when people
loves
found
to
out
barbecue.
Stans came from the Eminem song.
Yeah.
My friend loves to barbecue, and we call him grill pilled.
He's
That's pretty fun.
Folly on such a monumental scale is almost exhilarating.
So this is what more. So this is what more than 100 years of cinema history has come to. Special effects with no movie.
The Matrix is about nothing less than the nature of reality, heaven help us. The Wachowskis have discovered that there is a real world behind the apparent one. This may be a tremendous subject in the hands of somebody like Plato.
Filmmaker.
That's the craziest sentence ever. But when the Wachowskis get their mitts on it, watch out. Somebody ought to adjust their medication.
Their rhetorical argument here is that if you were ever to talk about another world, if you're not Plato, then you're not adequate. You cannot adequately handle such a subject.
I don't think Plato avoided using special effects filmmaking techniques because he was so smart.
I would actually say that he did use special effects. The cave.
Yeah.
That was one of
Alex-
he built it out of
I was going to say the allegory was really a special effect.
The allegory in the cave. Shadows from the
which is like
Yeah.
explicitly referenced in the Matrix, so you can't even like reference Plato and it counts, I guess.
The thing is, it's like I'm not saying the Matrix is the deepest movie in the world, but I do think the Matrix is a quite deep.
It's really
movie.
the whole point is it's like culture has pulled the wool over your eyes and you're like everything's perfect.
Not to mention the like trans allegory and stuff that this person is clearly not privy to because at the time the Wachowskis hadn't talked about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, if anybody ever wanted to see Reeves shaved naked and covered with slime, now's the chance.
This guy.
We all want to see
We
that.
all
I
definitely
gotta
wanna see
say,
that.
this would not fly in a 2010s onward article because we are aware of a huge dynamic of people that would have applied to.
Oh yeah.
If
People-
you really
love
think
that.
there's someone out there that want to see him slimy?
Oh
Are
yeah.
you crazy? If anybody has ever wanted to see someone that's a furry, yeah, right.
On your left, it's all people that love slime.
He plays a computer hacker who stumbles into a vague awareness. With him, everything is vague, epic. That this world is but the dim reflection of a controlling cyber world, quote, out there.
The Matrix is the film that asks the question. Ever had that feeling you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
Frequently. Characters, I'll just do this one too.
Yeah.
Characters have names like Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, and Cypher that take us into the quagmire of allegory, and the unfortunate actors attached to these names have to deliver speeches accordingly.
Their names aren't where the major allegory. Like there's some parallels, I guess, but that's not like, oh yeah, Morpheus, like the time guy.
I'm going to interject after someone reads this next line.
It's like a splinter in your mind driving you mad, someone says. Splinters in your mind will do that.
Is your issue with figures of speech?
This is such a Twitter post.
Is your
This is Twitter before Twitter.
is his argument there? Because it's also a metaphor when they say it in the movie.
Yeah.
He's not saying there's a literal splinter in his mind.
So you really think you can turn off your targeting computer and use the Force to blow up the Death Star?
Yeah.
That never happened.
This review feels like the entire thing was screamed at game night.
Yeah, this is written by the person who claims that the Matrix was stolen from them.
Yeah, they wrote a spec and it didn't go.
They're walking out of the Alamo Draft House, double fisting beers.
This movie's so pretentious that it invites speculation in kind. The neo-Wagnerian soundtrack score falsely raises hope that The Matrix has aspirations of becoming the all-encompassing multimedial philosophical artwork that the German genius, might have created if only moving pictures hadn't waited so long to be invented.
Yeah.
It's funny that they're like, this movie thinks it's gonna become something of itself.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not like me.
Yeah.
They really think this is going to be an enduring piece of work that people read my review for and make fun of me in 30 years? Good luck. In fact, the Wachowskis seem to be masters of the Wagnerian art of transition. In one stunning shot, the camera closes in on a static TV monitor view of Reeves in an interrogation room. The camera seamlessly merges into the shot on the monitor and then independently moves around the interrogation room.
Okay.
That's just Wow, this is actually more like a game review from the 2000s where all of the points are like, and then you can press B to jump, and then you pick up a mushroom.
I will say, watching this movie like last week, the cinematography is so good.
It's incredible.
And the special effects almost entirely hold up.
Agreed.
Which is crazy. There's like a couple of entirely CG shots that look like PS2 cutscenes.
Yes,
but all of the composition shots of CG and
incredibly
real
elaborate.
Stuff, they look so good. And this is like 2 years removed from Toy Story.
It's like jumping in the air and then the camera swirls around. It's the sickest.
And the way they did those shots with like all the cameras. Like,
it's really cool.
So sick.
Did they have a rig like that for 28 years later?
I don't know.
There's a shot of somebody running.
Because now that's a technique. They pioneered that technique, and now that's a thing you do.
Countless other techniques.
It's like, if you have an array of cameras.
Strobe almost.
Strobe of cameras.
It's very hack to just like, it's almost like an ad hominem, I guess, style argument when like the criticism is that they're doing something that someone else has thought about ever. Like that's the thing, is that other people also thought about it but didn't make a movie.
It's like doesn't seem interested in engaging with the substance of the movie because it opens with it having no substance. And I think that is like, regardless of, I think that's a bad judo move. You know, if I'm supposed to follow your argument, you open with this movie has no nuance. That is provably false.
I know, just reading things that happen in the movie.
It is breathtaking, and there are other displays.
It's an incredible film.
No, this is at the game night after everyone's been quiet for a little bit. No, it is breathtaking.
Really good.
It is breathtaking.
If you guys like it, I love it.
And there are other displays of visual virtuosity that almost equal it, including a shot into a fiber optics cable. To say nothing of the insect, and that's not even the like coolest shot.
It's just the
That's really boring.
Yeah. To say like, okay, whatever. To say nothing of the insect-like monsters, among them one that enters Reeves' belly button.
Okay, not to pathologize this person. They seem to really like when stuff goes in stuff.
It's like, it feels like a child recounting something to you. And then there's a monster, and then it goes into the
belly button.
I like that bit where Lightning McQueen goes so
If only
fast.
a German genius had made this, or Plato.
The cause is very Wagner-esque. As he moves back and forth between this world and that.
This world and that.
Reeves materializes at one point as a kung fu artist after the audience gets through digesting that one. Okay. He flies through the air like a refugee from some Hong Kong fantasy. Oh, okay. They're just saying like transplanted from that genre. They got different connotations, I guess. Like some refugee from some Hong Kong fantasy. More empty technical razzmatazz.
In what way is it empty though?
Yeah, it's such a good, but also just the thing of like this person was just grumpy when they watched it.
Also, stray caught by Hong Kong movies.
Yeah, right.
Like some bullshit Hong Kong movie.
Yeah, is he like saying like Jackie Chan's empty technical razzmatazz?
Yeah. Maybe the DVD version will have an option to eliminate the dialogue, but in the meantime, we have to put up with oppressive acting here.
Impressive.
He thinks he's being tongue-in-cheek because DVDs are new, and he's like, maybe the new technology gives us a track where they shut the fuck up.
Yet he didn't even realize that the DVD menu for the original Matrix was awesome.
It was actually sick.
When he goes, I know Kung Fu, the Wachowskis knew what they were doing with that line.
So I was watching it with someone who had seen like little clips like that, just like the cringe moments or the things that were lasting jokes. And in context, that feels like a joke that lands.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like this is all very above board. Like,
Neo is a weird person.
Yeah,
he's a strange, maladjusted guy. Same in like John Wick. Like his performance is not like emotive, but John Wick's a freak.
Yeah,
he's a creepy guy.
Yeah, it's a dude who's fucking lit. He's on the internet all the time. Yeah, like they didn't know about Discord mods back then.
He sort of is a pre-incel.
Yeah.
He's in a forum in 1999.
No,
this guy's weird.
Yeah.
We know that Reeves is puzzled about which reality he currently occupies because he squinches up his eyebrows. Okay. Are you an actor? Lawrence Fishburne has the chore as a mysterious cyberworld overlord of making absolute nonsense sound like he believes it. He does this by enunciating every syllable.
Okay.
It's
what do you want?
These are like artistic choices that, it's like, I don't get it, man. It's like,
Also, the stylistic choices of this film were so influential.
Oh yeah.
Like again, this reviewer doesn't know that, but the over enunciation, the very stylized shots and costuming and acting, it all was very influential on later films and and filmmakers.
This is a kind of telling line. In a throwback to the Wachowskis' Bound, Carrie-Anne Moss in black leather plays the Gina Gershon ambiguous lesbian character. That is the end of the paragraph. Nothing about her acting, which in a set about how everyone's performances are.
Feels like AI wrote it too.
Also,
this is what the AIs were trained on.
Yeah, AI was trained on this.
So I've seen Bound.
was.
Yeah.
Bound is an incredible film that the Wachowskis only made because they needed to prove their directing chops so that Warner Brothers would allow them to direct Matrix.
Oh wow.
What's an
And-
ambiguous lesbian?
So she's not ambiguous. She's very much a lesbian. Like what? What's ambiguous about it?
It's, yeah,
And
she's
they-
ambiguous at all.
Androgynous?
Maybe
Oh, is that what they're
androgynous.
trying
If
to-
he's
she's
using
like
the
short
wrong,
hair.
if he's using the wrong word, that's such an embarrassing mistake.
Like,
but
She's sort of an
ambiguous.
ambiguous lesbian.
She's kind of a
ambiguous Lebanon,
masked
you know?
lesbian.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this sentence too is that, again, Bound is a film made by women. It is you watch it and you're like, oh, this is made by lesbians.
Yeah.
And, they weren't out yet. So it's understandable that people wouldn't know that. But when you watch it now, you're like, and thing with Matrix, you're like, okay, yeah, the clothing is very androgynous and it's.
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many things that they couldn't do, like the stuff with Switch.
Yes.
But it's like, it's super, obviously there's a lot of depth in retrospect that this reviewer doesn't have access to, but on the surface, if you didn't know any of that stuff, it feels like they came into this with a wanting to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, this is such an obvious, maybe obvious take, but it is so awesome that the movie that created the term red pilled being like that, everything,
They have no
and that was like
idea.
the most awesome action movie that dude bros love is made by two trans
just have
women.
no idea.
Yeah.
Like that is so good. It just is like
But that's the guy.
sickest
That's
shit.
the I have a Fight Club poster.
Yeah.
I love the movie. It's all about how Helena Bonham Carter is an annoying lady, and IKEA is bad.
It's like, holy fuck, you missed the point. Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like, I feel like there's a self-awareness to the Matrix that this reviewer wants to assume is not intentional.
Yeah.
Does that make
So
sense?
they don't know anything's an homage.
Right.
Yeah,
or that,
it's kind of like Hong Kong action. Like, yeah, what is
yeah,
that?
it's like, oh yeah, this dialogue is supposed to be like this, or this is like a joke that, I don't know. It's like insulting to the audience. Okay. Can we zoom back in?
Australian actor Hugo Weaving, The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, is a Men in Black style special agent.
No, he's just a guy wearing black.
Yeah, right. His mannered performance is briefly fun until it becomes apparent that that's all there is, and he tends to go on and on with it.
It's fun until you realize that it's only
not.
This
fun.
is so funny to me. As one of the Overlord's underlings, Joe Pantoliano, the fugitive, at first seems to be the actor who will rescue the honor of the profession.
Yeah.
What an insult, right? He is the only one who has a spark of wit. Also an insult. It's also fucking Cypher, bro. Like, it's like
the villain.
The only character he likes is the one who's like, yeah, I think I would want to eat steak in ignorance.
No, I know.
yeah. Finally, someone with some sense.
They're the ones that they like, Agent Smith and Cypher.
Agent Smith was awesome, of course.
Yeah.
I think though I really connected with the Sentinels as they spun around.
Yeah, I really identified with the LCL
They were
fluid.
cool.
That the human batteries existed.
And he does like the wires and the bug.
They love the bug.
I loved Mouse personally. But even he is eventually swamped by the hopeless muddle that the Matrix becomes.
Thank you, Bob.
Wow.
Bobby.
Hopeless muddle.
March 31st, 1999.
Yeah.
A different world.
Year I was
Different
born.
world.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Different month.
I was going
different
to
year.
say.
Well,
He died.
thank
Same
you.
Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
Thank you for humoring me. I do want to watch a bunch of film classics and then find really snarky
So
negative
funny.
reviews.
Well, have you seen? There's an amazing review of Baby's Day Out, and it's oh my god, what are the two Abbott? What are the two?
Costello?
No, not Abbott and Costello. What are the famous film critics?
Roger Ebert.
Roger
Ebert and
Roper.
Siskel.
And I think Siskel fucking hates Baby Days Out. And it's so funny.
That's funny.
And he's just like, I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was good. I thought the acting was bad. I thought the set, like, he fucking goes off on it.
funny.
And
If an ape grabbed you like that and then threw you and bent the bars, it would go to jail.
it's clear that like they had a personal argument or something.
Oh, yeah,
and he's just
John
like, he's like,
Hughes.
come on, are you kidding me? Like, it's like crazy.
They had a
They
private
like
Twitter
hated
argument.
each other
Yeah, yeah.
apparently,
It's great.
and there's so much good like cutting room footage of them between takes being like, come on, let's just do it, you idiot.
Great.
Wow. Are you a sports guy?
No, not at all.
Okay, so
I understand that sports is sort of sweeping the sort of community and my producer as well.
Sports is
I've
getting
tried
really
to bring
popular.
sports into the perfect person
we can
realm.
make it happen because
Oh
I
my
feel like
God.
you have all of the.
Can I be honest? Sports is a poison, and I'm sorry, and I get that that's like, and I actually really respect sports.
Okay. You did just describe
No,
it as a
and you
poison.
just-
Pivot.
Let me finish. Okay. I actually do respect it, and I think that I'm honestly on the verge of being into it because
Okay.
I'm being peer pressured not only by Ashley but by my other friends.
Yeah, we need you to be surrounded, and also I feel like you have all of the like latch points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I can fit this into
Yeah.
your life.
I
Trade out
effortlessly.
reading manga in the bath for a little bit of
Name a sport.
Dude, oh,
Never.
so I got a basketball manga I can introduce you to.
Oh.
Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
actually, no, I was reading. Sorry, shout out to my manga heads out there. Blue Box. You ever fuck with Blue Box?
No.
Okay, every once in a while, I'll get really into like a really like romancy manga,
Oh.
like teen romance. Like
Yeah.
some like this kid plays basketball. No, the girl plays basketball. He plays badminton or something.
I
And they,
mean,
you know,
I mean,
Incompatible.
I love a.
Star-crossed lovers.
Exactly.
The
I mean,
ball's
back
too
in
small.
my day, a little Oron High School host club, a little fruits basket. You know, shout out to my.
oh, yeah, fruits basket.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reason I was actually bringing that up is related to these interviews. There was recently a, a similar thing to these interviews that actors do, these press things that actors do, is the press conferences that coaches and players do after a game,
Love those.
where they have like just a
thank God.
sea of journalists all barking questions at them.
Yeah.
And
And they just did sports. They're
They're
doing
exhausted.
sports.
yeah.
They just sort of like covered in sweat. They need a shower.
Yeah, Chris Evans didn't just do a marathon and then gets into the GQ. And
I honestly love that idea. We should translate to that because I have seen lots of these clips and I do love them. And I will also say, like, you know, I know I said sports is a poison, and I'm sort of coming back from that.
Okay.
And
in
you're a
this
big
moment.
fan.
And I'm a big fan. No,
And I
like,
think one day I will be into Poison.
by the way, agreed. I watched Friday Night Lights and I loved it.
It is a great
and
show.
I was like, oh, this is what, when people watch, you know, a football game, this is what they see. Like, they see the story that I'm not privy to. They see, oh, this is the running back from so-and-so team, and now
Yes,
he's here
the
and he was
lore.
injured.
I think
they
that
see
that
that
is-
story, and I'm not, you know,
That
privy
is
to
the
it.
missing piece, I think, for so many. And I
Yeah.
feel that way about many communities that kind of gatekeep.
Yeah.
I feel like communities will use terminology or what have you to obfuscate what's really happening so that they can be the in group and and those who don't understand their special language are cast out. And I think that's like very exclusionary.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think it's that hard. Like some of the storylines are just interesting. You know what I
Totally.
mean?
Oh, fascinating.
And but the reason I brought that up is, Jacob, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we have a lot to get to, and it's a little bit old news. But can you pull up Liam Cohen, Lynn Jones question? So
It's like the Winter Soldier exhibition.
yeah,
7.
Peep stands up and leaves the room. So Jacksonville Jaguars, they lost in the playoffs, but they had a pretty good season, unexpectedly good. It was also the first year or second year of their coach, Liam Cohen. And in general, Jacksonville's always sucked. I'm from Florida. No one gives a shit about the Jaguars. And they're starting to actually like pick up some steam. And there was a reporter who is with the Jacksonville Free Press, Black-owned newspaper, has been in the industry for 20 years, is not a sports exclusive reporter. They're just a general like journalist or whatever. They said this to the coach, and you'll never guess why it became a big deal.
I want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you.
you.
Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
And you
you.
did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so sort of kind words.
Kind words. It goes viral for a wholesome moment. And then the sports journalists started retweeting it and was like, this person's you're supposed to be impartial. I didn't know they were letting fans in the press box. They started getting on their high horse about the journalistic integrity of giving a compliment. It like got so out of, like, it was insane.
Got the rabid hunger for a reason to be
angry
and like vindictive, but also have some kind of moral victory.
Oh God!
You were worse at asking questions than me.
We worked so hard to get these press credentials, and this, sets us back. Like, that's like truly all of that stuff was happening.
Yeah.
And
did she just say it because he had a bad game or something? She was like,
well, they
"Keep your
just
head
got
up."
eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, so she's like,
and they're all upset. But then, so this is also a space where people were getting like really high and mighty about the role of journalists in these press boxes. But 99% of the questions are like, so when you guys threw the football, how did that feel?
Yeah, right. They're not asking like complicated
No,
questions.
they're never asking. In fact,
How do you feel to lose?
Why did you do that?
Yeah, why did it happen?
And like, this was a 20-second thing that was like in and out, and people were like, you need to be respectful of people's time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it took so little time. Like, and it's one of those things that they knew that the public would never be on their side, but they had to speak up for their journalistic integrity. But my issue is that like assumes that everyone was asking good questions all the time, and it's not a waste of time to go, so when your player got hurt, is that sad?
Is that bad?
Is that bad actually for the team?
You should wear shoes that are too big, too small.
Yeah.
How many points did it happen at the end?
At the end.
Where is the ball?
Where's the ball now?
Yeah, where'd the ball
After the
go?
game.
Where's the ball right now? Did someone get the ball?
What happened to that thing? Is it?
One of the guys fell over. Is he okay?
It is one of those things that I cannot help but imagine. Like, I just feel like if a dude asked that question or didn't ask that question but gave that compliment, it never, because that exists time and time again.
Certainly.
You know what I mean? Because
It
like,
It might even, under the right circumstances, generate a little bit of, wow, we're all people, kudos.
Yeah, no, truly. Like, yeah.
but it's like, okay. I don't want to keep on that because I can go all day. I was just reading
Trust
that
me.
became my algorithm for a while. It was just journalists' takes on this thing.
Yeah.
And everyone was trying to like step around it in a tactful way, and no one was succeeding because all you have to do is not be self-serious for 2 seconds or 20 seconds.
Yeah,
and like
right.
let it go. And also people were like shitting on the reporter not knowing that they were like a institutional figurehead in their community. And they were like, oh, I can't believe they let a fan back here. It's like, oh, actually, they've been with this paper for 20 years. Now what's your
That's
what the
the
fuck?
mayor.
Yeah.
That's the mayor of the town.
Regarding the playoffs, have you guys seen the little girl that is like
Incredibly bad at
for
guessing.
10 at guessing the I sent a TikTok to Jacob.
You're a
if
bully.
you want to pull it out, but what?
You're a big bully.
She's shucks at guessing.
She is
You're
like,
a bully. She sucks.
She
It's
sucks.
a meritocracy bully-wise, for sure.
you know in finance, Jim Cramer,
Yeah.
how he's famously bad at predicting the
money
economy.
madness guy.
And so if you inverse Jim Cramer, you actually make a lot of money.
Well, it's like-
if you did a parlay that was the opposite of this girl's guesses,
Yeah.
you would be a millionaire.
She got
instantaneously.
one right, the last one. She got one right.
okay.
And people are comparing it to like Spider-Verse, when he like turns in his test, and she's like, the only way you could get 100% is that if you could miss
Right.
100% if you know the answers.
Yeah,
and so I
yeah.
feel like she's just like fucking with her dad.
This little girl might be cursed.
Look at her.
They lost.
Failed.
Yeah. Lost.
Failed.
Holy shit.
Nope. Ooh, close.
Oh. What I want.
Well, no, but listen. But let me. Oh. Yeah. So pause. Her pausing on that. Can I just say, what happened in that game was that the Broncos. She held up the Broncos, put them down, and then chose the Bills. Now she was wrong. Of course, the Bills lost.
Pathetic.
But then in the press, what did I just call it? The press bot, or in the post-game interview.
Yeah.
In the post-game interview, the coach comes out. We've just found out that our quarterback has broken his ankle and he will be out for the rest of the season.
Oh,
so in a way, she felt something. She hesitated.
She's in this
because
psychically and
truly,
something's wrong.
The Broncos did lose because now they have to start their backup quarterback who has not played a snap in the NFL in 2 years.
Just like, and the way she get like her last one that she guessed right, the game was tied and they went into overtime.
Yeah.
So like the last one, everyone's on the
feels it.
brink of their, like on the edge of their seats, and they're like, is she going to be overtime?
We make fun of her right now. I don't. I'm an empath. But we make fun of her right now. Transport this 200 years into the past, and she's considered some kind of aged oracle who at least is like interpreting, and then it just turns out there's like a oxide leak coming from like the
Red
ground
mold.
or something.
Black mold.
Severe mold.
Did she say anything about the Patriots? Go Pats, big Pats fan here.
Well, I was actually
Hey guys,
gonna.
Shout out Ashley Wallace.
Ashley Lawless is a big Pats fan, and after a
And you're
brief,
calling in from Riyadh, is that correct?
Yeah.
That's right. Thanks for calling into the show.
After a brief, what was it, 5 years of not having Tom Brady, the Pats are now back in contention. They're one of the last 4 teams in the playoffs. And they're going to their conference championship game this weekend, and if they win, they're off to the Super Bowl. And it's second year Drake May, quarterback, first year Mike Vrabel, head coach, former player for the Patriots during Tom Brady's era.
This is a Tyler the Creator sweatshirt. I'm related to the Pats.
Just checking. Well, it's green.
Well, okay, not even the Pats colors.
The Bears.
And the Patriots are
red, white, and blue because it's the Patriots.
The Patriots.
In my mind, what is it? Seahawks? They're green.
Seahawks have a little green. They have blue.
It's Eagles. Maybe you're thinking.
Gray, green.
That's what I am. It is Eagles.
Red, white, and blue because the only Patriots have to be American.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
At a time like this.
Wow. Speaks volumes.
But yeah, I will say, so Jarvis got me into fantasy this year.
Yeah.
And in our fantasy group chat, I did say, like, let's go Pats, we're so back. We had a drought. And we have Lions fans in there. We have every other team.
Yeah, go ahead.
That nobody's ever won a Super Bowl, or like people haven't been to the Super Bowl since the 90s. And I'm like, guys, it's been 5 years since I've been. I got chewed out so bad that I had to put my phone down.
It's funny because I don't have like a real pro team allegiance because I grew up in college town, but it's funny to see how everyone's got their blinders on for their own biases, and then have to remember. They'll be like, "Fuck Josh Allen," and then like Alex would be like, "Tear," and it's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry.
I did do that.
I forgot he was your favorite guy."
Yeah, I had to say, I was like, guys, I'm sorry, I forgot that I used to skip high school and stuff like that to go to Super Bowl parades, and you guys.
Yeah, you do have the same haircut as that little girl. Do you think you have the same predictive powers?
I don't want to know what she predicts.
I'm wondering where you get those tiny little helmets.
Honestly, I was wondering. I was like, "There's a lot of tiny helmets." This guy purchased.
Was she wearing multiple jerseys during that? How rich is this family?
Don't have any money. His family's got cash. Honestly, though, the fantasy element is the thing that might get me into football.
Yeah, well, so
then it's like math/tactical.
It is.
Game.
It's like an RPG.
Exactly. I'm min-maxing my pictos. You training this character.
Free aim build.
Free aim build.
Yeah, you are. You are min-maxing though, because you're like, okay, like I may need to go to the waiver wire and pick up new players, or you're looking for players that flew under the radar that you might want to pick up because they're diamonds in the rough, they're gems, or a starter gets injured. Who's the backup on the depth chart? Nobody's got him. I can go.
I'd be trying to moneyball every time.
Oh, 100%.
And that's going, what if I thought in a new way?
What if
I
I love that movie. It really didn't seem to help me at all. In my performance in the fantasy leagues, because
Jordan,
that whole make it up in aggregate thing seems to require pretty good knowledge of the sport and the players.
Yeah.
I was making it up in vibes.
Jordan went 0-14.
Well, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
One week I helped him with this lineup, and then he beat me. And that's real friendship, I think.
But yeah, I think that fantasy is probably the outlet that I need to get into for football. It's just so much time.
Football is
it's
easy.
like a full-time job.
Football's easier to get into as a fantasy sport because the football season's very condensed. They play so few games that you can kind of watch everything, which is unique compared to baseball where it's impossible, basketball where it's impossible. So
I did grow up, by the way, I know I said I wasn't sporty, but I went to UNC Chapel Hill. So I was like a Tar Heels fan growing up. And then went to like the games when we beat Duke and stuff like that. But I don't watch games anymore.
Yeah.
But I could see it coming back into my life.
I just, I'm starting to get back into college because I obviously followed Florida Gators when I was a kid. And then I went to Georgia Tech, I went to all the home games because it was like really cheap to get season tickets as a student. It was like $15 a game or something like that. And Georgia Tech just signed Fernando Mendoza's brother, who Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman this year. He just won the national championship, and he is a hilarious person. Like he's a super religious, all football Boy Scout type personality, which I love those guys. And his little brother was his backup at Indiana, but he's going to be number 1 in the draft. He's going to go to the Raiders. Minority owner Tom Brady of the Oakland Raiders.
He's African American.
Right.
Tom Brady?
Yeah. He's a minority owner.
He's a minority.
Miles, I will say, Drake May went to UNC. So
Drake
I think
went to UNC?
Drake May, Pat's QB.
Drake May.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think-
Drake
there's
May.
a lot of people that like kind of came through, especially in professional basketball, that came through.
Oh yeah,
the heels that I remember watching.
I remember
as a
watching
teen.
tons of UNC stuff just because they were so good for so long.
And college basketball is so fun because like the stakes are arguably the highest stakes ever, where you're like, oh yeah, if their team doesn't do well while this person is at this school, they may not go pro, and they're going to be a gym teacher. That element is so
they're going to hate the sport.
Things have changed because now they have they've changed the way that name, image, likeness stuff works. So players are allowed to make money.
Oh, okay, see that I agree with that.
I agree with it as well because they're basically putting their bodies on the line.
Yeah.
They may never make the pros, but if you can there were tons of, and I'm sure you remember this, there were tons of huge celebrities in college who their game maybe didn't translate for one reason or another to the pros, and they never were able to benefit off of any of that. Like their best bet is to buy a car dealership in their hometown and run commercials for the rest of eternity.
But it's also like buy a car dealership with what? Like
you
fucking money.
You show your face card and you say, I would like a loan of $5 million.
You pay for it with the revenue you generate from front-facing videos in your truck, where you get angry about like Mendocino Farms taking like the word like engine off the menu or something.
No, now I think it's like, you would just make content, or you would like try to pivot into an influencer. It's almost like The Bachelor.
The Washington football team? Yeah. Oh no.
It's like, you pivot into influencer and then like you can get traditional brand deals and stuff and you can actually take that money. Like, because back in the day, Reggie Bush had to give back. They took away his Heisman because he made some money like selling signed jerseys or whatever under the table.
Who gives a shit?
And they eventually,
So crazy.
the Overton window like shifts and they're like, our bad actually. That was kind of fucked
Also
up.
like the optics of like, these like big prestigious universities like signing like usually like poor kids to come do like basketball and then kind of dropping them after 4 years.
Utilizing them.
It's
draining them of
draining
all
them
their
of their resources.
Draining them of
Just
their-
being,
literally.
Like it's such
Why
a
would I
bad.
keep the orange rind? I'm all done with that.
There's nothing I can do with it.
I can't make this into
to me.
juice.
There's a movie.
I'm of the opinion that if you win an award, you can't take it from me. I already won it.
Yeah,
I already won it.
it's mine. I agree. By the way, Michael Phelps.
Hey, I was
should
gonna
get
say
the awards.
the only time I disagree with that is with Donald Trump's Nobel Peace Prize.
Holy shit! What a fucking crazy thing I just can't believe so much crazy shit happens like so frequently
All
these
the time,
days.
dude.
That is the
I can't remember what I
craziest.
dreamt.
I know. I was like, did I? Yeah, I feel like I scanned by that headline. It's like so fucking
Have you
insane.
Have you seen the interview? The leaked. So apparently Macron like films everything, and Trump had leaked some text messages or something. And so Macron's camp leaked a phone call that he was having, I think it was Macron, that he was having with Trump, where he's like, yeah, the serious stuff is done. Nobel, please. He just says it like on the call.
Yum.
Oh my God. By the way, I have a question. How often do guests not wear socks, realize they have to take their shoes off, and show their dogs on the show? Has that ever happened?
No socks?
I think that's
random.
never happened because in those instances, they're like, can I leave my shoes on? And we say, we want you to be comfortable.
Because I
whatever you
literally
need.
almost didn't wear socks because I'm wearing Birkenstocks, and I was like, should I put my dogs out?
Well, we've got extra socks if you need them.
No. What
Emergency.
if I want to put my dogs
If you
out?
want to, I mean, that's your prerogative.
I just like that it's that's what I'm saying. As long as it's an option. I just want to know
Look,
it's an
if you
option.
put your dogs out, we will censor them and then have them uncensored on the Patreon for more money.
That's good
Significantly
business.
more
That
money.
is good business. I love it.
Yeah.
I
Look,
respect
we run
it.
a tight ship around
I
here.
think I would be too self-conscious about the piggies to get them out on the show.
You guys are you're definitely on Feed Finder. I'm sure. Have you looked?
We were there, but never from Sad Boys.
Well, so that's the thing. I
assume
would
we don't get 'em
have
out.
sworn up and down that I've never shown raw foot.
Also, what I thought. Yeah.
And then Feet Finder proved me wrong because there's some eagle-eyed feet freaks that have there's like one video of mine from like 2018 where I had a wide shot where I happen to not be wearing it's like you just didn't think about it because it's not the focal point. Like they're at the very bottom of the frame.
So funny.
Shout outs to the feet snipers though. It's gotta be so fun. It's gotta be like bird watching.
Yeah, you're doing the meme. Like
I don't have service, but I would pull it up. But I looked myself up. I was like, no, I'm surely not on Feet Finder. I've never showed my feet. And I looked my profile up, and there was literally a photo of me with both feet going.
Oh no!
Like sponsored the show. That
Sponsored link to
in
men
some
knowing you.
podcast episode of the Try Guys like a million years ago. But I just was like, surely not. And it's me going like, hey.
That guy's.
It's like a full photo roll. It's like you privately in your house. Yeah. Well, Miles, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, boys.
Before I went to do this earlier, almost forgot. Where can they find you? Where can they find the doc?
Yes, you can find me at Miles Bond on everything, at Perfect Person or at Perfect Person Pod on social platforms, watch social clips, and then on Patreon is where we release the doc. It's like on the shop tab. You don't have to become a member. You can just buy the doc.
That's also where you can get our live show on our Patreon, not Miles's.
Liddy, you get the live show for them and get the doc for me.
Yeah.
Choose which one you
can only
like
choose
more.
One pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have the red one, please.
Take the red pill and watch my documentary.
Yeah, showing you how deep the rabbit hole goes is analog for ADHD. Just getting hyper focused.
And you see Ashley there too.
Ashley, you can get all of the Lynchian camera angles.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm in there. But yeah, you can find me on TikTok at Ashley Lawless. It's ASHLEIGH.
Yeah.
And then same thing on Instagram, but with a dot in between my first and last name.
And Ashley blowing up. Ashley going Vi.
Ashley blowing up
did
and
go
going by.
You going by? You blow up?
Unbelievably Vi.
I went by
recently.
on accident in a jester hat. So you can find that there.
We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase.
We love you.
And we're sorry.
Boom. Bye.
On Nights Today, we're watching that Reddit mod video. You know the one. And also playing games, having fun. It's an extra long night, so you can head on over to patreon.com/sadboys to check that out for as low as $5 a month using only your discretionary entertainment spending. And the live show is now available, and you can buy it for $3 if you'd like, or if you're a patron, it's available included with your subscription. So go check it out. We had Drew Good and Eddie Burback in our live show at Dynasty's Typewriter, and it was a grand old time. Thanks to Jacob for editing that. We'll see you over there, or we won't. No worries.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it. Girl, too rich for me.